welcome to the Limerick Planning Board meeting for June 17th, 2026. We get stand for the flag salute. We have some minutes for June 3rd. Is there a motion on those?
Motion to approve the June 3rd minutes.
Okay. Some motion.
Can I second it if I wasn't here? I'll second it. There you go.
It's easier if you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor? Okay, thank you. We have to sign the findings of fact for S.A. McLean. I think I'll wait on that because I wasn't here for that, so you guys can do that after. All right. We have on the agenda review of CIA salvage. We're waiting on one of our members, so we'll hold off on that for a minute.
Is everybody getting one of these? Okay. I guess we'll just keep handing it down.
Is it one piece of the,
One is the
I don't know what I'm,
appeals interest. This is the appeals interest.
okay.
This is the actual conditional use
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Answers 2020.
Okay.
Need one more down there?
So that's the answers, and then that's 2020.
Thanks, Dan.
Does everybody have a copy?
I think so. She'll need one if she makes it.
So we have findings that stand that the planning board approved for, I'm not sure of the date. What is the date that this was actually on October? What is the date we approved that, 20?
Yeah, this is 2020, June 2020.
Okay, there's 2020, but there should also be one approved in 2024? 2023?
Actually, 2023, December of 2023.
The December of 2023 decision?
You need that one too?
We do. Because that's, all of those conditions are in effect except for 4 conditions that were overturned by the appeals board. I think Stan's getting them.
I don't think I was here in 2020.
No, you were not.
Not on the board. I was in Limerick, but I wasn't
Yeah.
on the board.
Yeah. So this is the,
You want the ZBA as well?
no, I think we're all set with that.
So these are the ones that the Board of Appeals reversed. So these starred ones will be these, the
That's
20
funny.
conditions. Everything else will be.
Jason was absent, and Wright said, nature motion, Jason seconded the motion that the minutes for October 18th not be approved. So was I there? Was I not? I thought I was there.
I don't know.
Reversed meaning the decision the board found was reversed, or the need for these?
Our decision was reversed, so it reverts back to these, where it was approved. Because it was reversed.
And which numbers were those? Oh,
2, 6, 9, 13, 16, and then number 3 on the performance standards.
those are all reversed?
Yes.
13 was reversed?
That's what this says
Yeah,
here.
that's what they said. Number 3 said?
Yeah.
Stan's still working. Just trying to get a full board here. Ashley's supposed to be here, so. He's running.
Apologize for the tardiness.
Okay. Welcome. All right, so we have Mr. Gerard before us. I think the first order of business is you guys to make a decision on what you want me to do.
Did we not do that last time?
I don't remember that we did. So I'd like the board to make a decision of whether they want me to continue to work through this, or whether they would like me to step down, or what their pleasure is. I don't feel that I have a conflict of interest that warrants me stepping down. So.
I also believe you do not have a conflict of interest, and I think you've had the most history as far as knowledge of the different steps that have gone on, so
Okay.
my thought is you should stay.
Would you put that into a motion?
I motion that Aaron stay on board for this decision and not abstain.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Okay. All in favor? Okay, and I'm going to abstain, obviously. Okay, so that one's taken care of. All right, so this is a very complicated application. We have conditions that were approved in 2023. We have conditions that were appealed and revert back to 2020. So we have to abide by both of them at this point. Oh, well, this is that's our baseline to start, I guess, so. And then we have two sets of answers from the applicant, one that was just provided to us just at the meeting now, so. What's the board's pleasure on proceeding? Would you want to start with deliberations, or do you have all the information that's...
So I have a question. We have from the 2023, you had several conditions that were not met, but that was overturned by the zoning board of appeals
That's correct.
in '23, and the conditional use permit was renewed.
It was renewed in 2023.
Right.
So the ones that were not, were overturned by the appeals board were number 2, number 9,
12, yep.
2, 6, 9, 13, and 12 and 16, sorry. 2, 6, 9, 12, 13, and 16.
Not 12.
I don't think 12.
Sorry, makes that, yeah, so it's 12 has not been met, but it's,
Yep.
16 and number 3. on the
so it's not
Article
13,
5,
it's,
or Article 6.
I'm sorry.
It's 12.
Makes that
This might not be right.
So, this says, number 12, the condition has not been met, and it's 4-0 in favor for number 12. Number 13, it says, makes adequate provision to handle stormwater runoff drainage problems on site. So 13 was approved, but 12 was not. 16 was not approved.
And then the next section, number 4.
Number 3. Left screen of plantings.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I read that wrong.
Are you up to speed yet, Peter?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's confusing.
So are those then the only thing that we're basically looking at the answers for this time around? Because we can assume that all the other conditions that we, for a renewal are already met?
I don't know, I think we should go through all of them, but those are the ones that we have to go between the two sheets and try to figure out
Okay.
what they are, and then what the applicant has submitted for information for us, so. Stan, do you have concerns that you want to address at this time related to this?
Okay, if you go through all 16 for the record, you can, the ones that are no change, just like no change. That way you'll have a permanent record of them. The only other thing, which towards the end, if there's an approval, is to add the condition, the terms that the fire chief put in the application. The letter that the fire chief wrote for the application, the conditions he requires.
Okay. So at this point, you believe that Sean has met the criteria that have been set forth in the conditions that are approved?
Outside of the fire chief.
Outside of the,
Again, I think he's pretty close. One thing that he is working on now is the runoff with still water. He did do some work today, but until he finishes, once he finishes, still water will come and complete or sign off on the stormwater runoff. So that being one of the questions, which there are 3 conditions that kind of repeat themselves in the same form of erosion and stormwater runoff, is I would put a specific time frame to have that met. 30 days or 60 days. I think 30 days would be sufficient at this point once you finish.
30 days won't give me enough time. It depends how much material I get brought in. I gotta finish filling in the hole. Once I get the hole filled in, we're making provisions for the rest of the 2-to-1 slope on the Carroll side of the property.
so you bring, I'm sorry. Is there a plan for this, first of all?
There is a plan. Elliot from Stillwater had gone over with Sean to finish off the 2-to-1 slope where he has added fill, to put in a swale where there'll be a runoff area to direct it away from the properties. So there is a plan, but he won't sign off on it until Sean finishes grading that section. He did do the 2-to-1 slope on the roulette side and removed everything from the 60-foot mark.
So, so there's a plan in place that allows the water to leave the site?
There's a swale that will go towards the corner of the property. You'd be better off explaining it, Sean.
Is that allowable? I thought all water was treated and needed to be handled on site and not leave the site.
Well, that should be correct. Again, Stillwater has.
It shouldn't be a point source that it goes off onto somebody else's property.
But no, it isn't going to run off on somebody else's property.
So it's going to be directed on your own property, is that
Right
correct?
now, you come out, you're looking at the gate, there's a spillway, Stan has pictures, I didn't bring my phone in. So there's a spillway or a trough there the water's supposed to hit. It's coming down, and then on your uncle's side of the end, we're doing 2-to-1 slope. We wanna continue to fill that area in where the house was gonna be. Do a 2-to-1 slope on that bank and then plant some trees. Then there's gonna be a spillway there. There's nothing anywhere that says that my water has to stay there. There's minimum water there. Water is in a vegetated area. The front yard is vegetated. It's not like it's being used for a parking lot or a racetrack or any of that. Stillwater has a spillway that they consider there. You know, the water's gonna come in and settle out, and then from there, it would go out to the street if it needed to. But we haven't had enough water, even in the massive rains we've had, for any of that water to go out there anyway. Just like in the site on Route 5, there's provisions there for that water, and I mean, that's massive. That's, 75 acres of material.
Do you want a copy of the stormwater plan that was from October of 2024 that was that plan?
You have a copy of that?
There's never been anybody come forward and said you have to have a storm. They wanted me to make sure I have provisions for it, but we came forward and said we'd like to put in a spillway to make sure that if anything ever did happen, the only thing that's there now is wood. Wood and 7 cars. There's nothing else there, so you're not going to get spillway of water and all of that.
In October 2024, your SWEP plan did recommend a 70-foot pond.
Yes, and that's what we're trying to put in now. It was a recommendation.
The only concern I have, Sean, with anything going into the town ditches is we haven't consulted with the road commissioner, which you may not have a problem with it at all. But again, that's something we should consult with them to make sure that it doesn't put a burden on.
We can talk to the road commissioner, we're fine with that.
So, I mean, that's the only concern I have, because any burdens that put on that side of the
For the
road.
last 100 years, that water's run off of that and gone into the town ditches. It's not like we're creating something that wasn't there. For 100 years,
Well,
water
when-
from the Buoff property went to the Carroll property.
But when you create a concentrated flow, you have a different criteria that you need to meet. So you're concentrating all of this water together and then putting a concentrated flow together. It's supposed to be not leaving your site.
water recommended to swale
I got a couple of questions. So are you saying that you're raising the grade of that
No.
all the way to the road, the
Flattening
same?
off what was there, finished, because I took the dirt out of there, and the grade will be approximately this high from the Carroll side of the family lot, and we will slope that banking on the Carroll side to 2-to-1 slope and put some trees in there.
Okay. So, there is no actual plan to do this.
The only one that we had originally was the October 2022.
Okay.
And then, again, the conditions on site had changed, so that wouldn't be sufficient for the current conditions.
Okay.
So what Elliot had talked to Sean about was creating a swale down the property. I probably misunderstood, I didn't realize it was gonna be a spillway to the ditch. So
The water naturally right now runs towards the Carroll property on probably 100 feet a section. And if we put a berm in there and trees, and we fill it in with that, the water will not go to the Carroll side of the property. There's no way to actually make every drop of that property not leave the facility. No different than it is in this parking lot. This parking lot gets wet, it goes to another place.
Isn't that required now that all water needs to stay on the property?
Yeah.
No, it isn't not.
So I think what Aaron's getting at is it's not that we're concerned that you have oil on your property and it's running off. I think what Aaron's trying to say is we believe you're required to reduce the speed of the water so that it doesn't take more sediment into the nearby
You're doing
street.
that.
Right. And I think that's what this plan shows. I know everyone keeps calling it a spillway, but I think if this plan is accurate, you're more talking about a retention pond
It's
that
not really,
slows.
he didn't call it a retention pond. He
Okay.
said just make it so that if you get it, say you got 3 inches of rain in 2
Yeah.
hours, whatever came down out of the front yard would go to this set of riprap,
Right.
and it would stop it there, and then it would trickle out to the ditch.
Right. I think when you said speedway or a swale, I see that as funneling the water off property, but
Yes.
Okay. So, do we want to begin going through conditions? Do we want to let Merrill speak? We have the opportunity to do whatever we choose with.
I think I'd like to hear everyone speak, so when we go through the conditions, we can see if what was said is applicable.
Okay. So, Merrill, let you speak.
I thought the public hearing was closed.
The board has the opportunity to listen to feedback all along the way, so.
Ralph Aaron. Just a quickie, that was a misrepresentation of fact. You asked about whether there's more fill in the front, and there had been more fill brought in, as I talked about at the public hearing in April, in the front of the property, and then more fill has been brought in the last couple days and spread out. So more fill has been added. The elevation of that area has changed further. The plan from 2024 was created when there was a significantly less amount of fill in that area, and I'm just going to say that for accuracy of what you're doing.
And that was what you said, and you sent us an email about that from DEP, about the fill that was brought in to ensure it was clean, correct? Okay.
If I could, Stan and I had a meeting with DEP, well, we didn't have a meeting, I called them, and I asked DEP if I could continue to fill that in. And Stan asked me to wait until I got approval for DEP, so that was like 2.5, 3 months so we didn't get it done. So we got approval from DEP to fill in the front yard, taper it off to the 2-to-1 slope to control anything, seed it, and mulch it. And we also got the same email for the rear of the yard, that I can continue to fill that in as long as I don't approach the wetlands on the Carroll property at the end of the yard. So we were waiting for DEP approval. We got DEP approval from Eric Hamlin and who was the other one, Stan? Derek, yeah.
You got the email today from Derek, and I already forwarded it to the board, that said, as long as it's in a Carroll and you're not getting into any, everybody should have that email from Derek.
It says clean fill, nothing contaminated. Well, I don't haul in contaminated anyway. That's just the rumor in town.
Okay. All right. So what Derek DeCastro has said, following up on our phone conversation, because I was with Sean earlier today to verify that there was nothing within the 60 feet and that there was the 2-to-1 slope. And again, my concern with, and I've talked to Sean about raising the grade, does pose a concern about stormwater runoff. So he said if you can verify that the material is considered clean swale, whether you know the source of the material or have lab data showing that it's clean, it is exempt from DEP solid waste rules. So they can't speak for land resources and land resources in anything over 5 acres or more. So, and he doesn't really fall into that. So we do know that it's coming from the gravel pit off in 25 in Wilmington, halfway between Wilmington and Cornish.
I thought I saw
The other thing
soil
that was
sample.
brought in that I mentioned earlier, a few months ago, was still that he got from the 2-to-1 slope on the Carroll side, and that was left over and he brought it to the front.
There was a soil sample letter in here somewhere,
Yeah,
I saw it
I can't
earlier,
find
but I don't know if that's pertaining to the same thing.
I think it was.
Okay. So, are we prepared to move forward with the conditions?
I think I am.
There is one other fact that I wanted to bring up, and Sean's secretary, office manager, Diane, did prove, because it was a question that resolved when Chief Edgerly saying that there was contaminated soils on Green Road. We do have proof all the contaminated soils from CIA Salvage 366 was brought to a facility in New Hampshire and disposed of. He does have the trip tickets and the quantity. So the fill that was brought over was clean fill, and that is now where the existing yard is behind the fence.
Okay. All right, so the first condition is we'll meet the definition and specific requirements set forth in this ordinance for specific use. So we have in the conditional use review for number 1. So it's a,
So this
will meet the definition and specific requirements set forth in this ordinance for the specific use. This is just, is there an applicant's answer for that one? Not a great one. Trying to figure out where my other,
Doesn't go to this one.
I'm looking for the actual application with the,
Here, take one.
let's see.
I lost my new answers.
I might have them here. There's some. So there's one here. I've got a lot of stuff going on right here, so. Can see it.
Did you get the June 4th email with all those new answers?
We do, but it's,
We just lost a few in the last 10 minutes.
trying to find the answers here too.
Well, these are the new answers, so that's what we should be going off of, right?
Yes, I think so.
These are as of June 4th.
I think his answers were further up.
I got a car wash application.
Yeah.
Take a look, see if you can find it.
Here.
Is this the right one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have it. All right, these are the answers. So based upon the zoning ordinance, the applicant use is permitted in the district with a conditional use permit. Is there a motion on that one?
I motion to accept that, based on the zoning ordinance, the applicant's use is permitted in this district with conditional use permit.
I'll second that.
So based upon the applicant's answer, and that this is an allowable use in this district, this condition is met. I'll second that. Oh, you already seconded it, so, is there any discussion on that?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. All right, so, number 2, will not have a significant detrimental effect on the use and peaceful enjoyment of adjacent or nearby property as a result of noise, vibration, fumes, odor, dust, light, glare, or other cause. So this is one of the ones that was not, did not pass and went back to the 2020 decision. And then we look at the 2020 decision.
Previously, we said the board considered the record and testimony presented to it throughout the public hearing process, noted the abutters to the property, including Merrill Farren, had complained about noise, vibrations, fumes, odor, dust, and other effects on the properties as a result of the operation of the junkyard and automobile graveyard. The board noted that these comments were to the board members made by abutters during the site walk. The board also noted that no abutters have been vocally in favor of the current use. Accordingly, based on these facts, the board deliberated, determined, and voted 3-1 that approval standard number 2 was not satisfied.
So, And this new conditional, and new questions that, new answers that Sean submitted.
New answers.
We only address, it says lighting on the building illuminates 30 to 40 square feet of the building only. So, I really think that Sean should be addressing some of these questions that people have from the neighbors.
We reclaimed the driveway with asphalt reclaim. We graded to make sure there's no dust. The only thing that drives in and out of there is my father in a pickup truck, no different than you driving in on a farm or you driving home at the end of the day. There's not 100
Except
trucks.
for both of those are allowed uses. So what you're doing is not, it's allowed with a conditional use permit. So me driving my farm tractor is allowed, okay? That's a different
I understand
deal,
that.
so.
So put it any way you want it. It's still, you still can't stop me from coming in and out of my property. If I set dust control, I set dust control, which I've done, and they've asked for, we've done it. But you still can't control me from coming in and out of my property.
So what I'm asking for is a plan to control the dust.
We've already done it. I just explained it to you. We put down reclaimed gravel, reclaimed tar in the entrance to the driveway.
Sorry, your answer says that you have lighting on the building that illuminates 30 to 40.
I just told you 2 seconds ago. You want to borrow my hearing aid? Because we just put down, in the last 2 years, we put down reclaim in the driveway. Did we not say there's a reclaim there? And we graded on a regular basis, so there's no dust over there.
So we have concerns from abutters in the past over dust. We have concerns over, I guess that was it for that. Does the board feel that the plan that Sean has in place is adequate to control noise, vibration, fumes, odor, dust, light, glare, or other cause? So what you're currently right now just doing, basically keeping some stuff on the site and some work inside the shop, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
We have lumber there that we use to build houses, and my father is the only one that comes in and out of there unless we're doing something for work over there. Unless an Eldritch truck shows up to drop off wood. There's not a bunch of people coming in and out. My father's 85 years old, comes in and out a couple times a day, comes over in the morning, fiddles around with his boats or whatever he's doing, he comes back over to the shop for lunch, and he goes back over at the end of the day and closes his gate.
How often do you bring other materials onto the property?
I'm sorry?
How often do you bring other materials onto the property, like the building materials and?
Could be once a week, could be once a month. I mean, you can't restrict me from coming in and out, I mean.
No, I'm just curious if it
Yeah,
was.
I'm
how-
saying, there's
how
no dust and fumes. We graded the driveway with reclaimed asphalt, and we graded to make sure that, there's not a lot of potholes and we're not getting water setting in places.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I
it's-
was asking that question more for the noise aspect. I feel like the changes you made for dust are suitable
We
changes.
put down the reclaim to control the dust, and I mean, I got pictures of the neighbor out there with his leaf blower, no mask on, blowing his dirt and stuff across the road. That's in the file there, Stan's seen it, and he blows it over with no mask, no nothing. But he's not here, and I mean, the doctor will stick up for him, but I mean, other than that, we've made provisions for it.
I just have a quick question. If you're looking at the gate, that area in the front to the left where you're kind of like trying to level it
Yeah.
out a little bit, is that going to be grass? Are you going to keep?
It's grass,
Okay.
half grassed in
All
there.
right.
But, I mean, we drive in, we turn around on it and whatever. If I bring a piece of equipment over there, we pull in there and we load and stuff in the front yard and unload in the front yard. The goal was to get I call it the riprap going down underneath the trees, get it to go down towards the Carroll end of it, come into a small sediment. So you make sure you got any sediment so it's not going out, and then just leave that area flat. Put some trees in there, maybe put a fence down the road.
On the new site plan that he gave you, he proposed to put trees along, replant the trees along the road, which will help with the view from the road as well as some of the soundproofing. Along the road, he did propose to put, he's got trees there now that he intends to plant them.
I think the answers that Sean has given us about his planned use for the property and his plans for vegetating the large dirt areas, I'm okay with addressing that.
So you're saying based upon the plan that Sean has for controlling dust and,
We already controlled the dust damage. You've asked us in the last permit to put down reclaim. That's what we've done. We've never done anything this board has not asked us to do. They put us through hoops on the Carroll side of the property for years.
so
I don't know if this will help you, but I witnessed his father actually give him hell because he put a pothole in that driveway and he made him fix it, so. Dennis is very meticulous about that area because that's his playground.
So I think we were just trying to clarify that, or I was trying to clarify that what Brian was saying was that he thought that the plan that Sean had in place, which was installing the reclaim, the lighting, and then the additional trees and
Vegetation.
the vegetation are
Enough to satisfy.
enough to satisfy this condition.
I have a question because I know where Aaron's going. If we say I come in there in a tractor trailer and I make a U-turn in there and it tears up some of the vegetation, you know, the grass that's sitting there, am I going to be in violation because I turned on it? Because the vegetation should be along the bankings and along the other bank and the other bank. And if there's some grass that grows in the middle of that between the street and the berm, it shouldn't have to say, Sean, you can't drive on that, or you can't turn in there to,
I'll make it simple. I'll tell you what I'm concerned about and what I would want to see. What I'm concerned about is that you would only vegetate the edges and that this large area that's half grassed now would remain dirt. Like if that stays dirt and that
But then you
becomes,
can see the vegetation
No, I
here,
know,
and
but
then you can see the vegetation growing there. Well, this area right now is all vegetated.
right.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna have grass this high.
That's fine, but like if you keep that vegetated, if it's cut down, it doesn't have to be like a perfect lawn, but if it's enough to minimize the amount of dust with you turning cars around in that area, that's what I'm looking for. That's all I'm not saying like we're gonna ding you for every mud rut, but if 2 years from
But
now.
what's gonna happen is it's gonna end up being that, oh, you gotta have a manicured lawn over there, Sean, because that's where Mr. Carroll's going down the road.
No one said that yet.
Why do we have to even concern ourselves? We're talking about the driveway. You wanted something in the driveway. I can put it, I took care of the driveway. That was the issue. You wanted the driveway taken care of with,
Okay, I think we need to restart.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through each of these little things here: noise, vibrations, fumes, odor, dust, light, and glare. And
All
if
right, well,
we
let's go
feel
through 'em.
that none of that is fine, then we'll just move on to the next one. So,
what's the first one, ma'am?
is noise, in which,
Noise. So
in
there's
which we
there's
said.
minimum noise of somebody coming in and out of there. My father comes in a pickup truck, no different
Great.
than.
Agreed.
So check. Next one is going to be vibrations. If there's not a lot of trucks and noise, then vibration sounds like it won't be an issue. Any
Agreed.
discussion on that? Okay, next is fumes. Any concerns about fumes? right, next is odor, similar to fumes. Next is dust. The plan for the dust is the reclaimed drive, correct?
Got it.
Is everyone okay with that plan?
So we have, I think we have reclaimed driveway,
And the
the
vegetation.
vegetation, the trees along the edges. I think that was in Sean's plan. So I think those are all addressing that.
And we would just like to make sure that the vegetation is at a height that makes sure that it's continuing to serve its purpose, which the purpose should be dust control. We all agree?
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, moving on from that. The next one is light. So this, according to his application, we are saying that light will be emitting 30 to 40 feet from the building only. If we look at his plan that he submitted, we can see that there is a buffer of 60-foot setback from the line, and I saw how far that was from the building on a different one, but we can see that that's not really going past the fence if it's only from the building, correct? It's staying within the property 30 to 40 feet. So does anyone have any issues with light or glare based on his answer or based on what we saw on the site visit?
No.
Okay, are there any other causes that should be considered that would have a detrimental effect on the peaceful use of enjoyment of adjacent or nearby properties?
No.
Okay, anyone have a motion for this?
I motion that the conditions for number 2, that it's not going to have significant detrimental effects on the use of peaceful enjoyment of adjacent or nearby property as a result of noise, vibrations, fumes, odor, dust, light, glare, or other cause has been met, and that with the remediation efforts that he's made to get through this.
Including the things added into his plan that he submitted.
Exactly.
Which are vegetation,
Vegetation,
trees.
trees, and the reclaimed material in the driveway.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Based on the applicant's answers to the plan, I second that motion.
Any other discussion?
So, are you taking over?
No, I just couldn't take
Plan
that
to
anymore.
keep the
All right, so,
vegetation in the front.
so, just point of order. So, the motion and Peter's second are different.
Okay.
So Peter's second said based upon the applicant's answers. So Peter's second either needs to say he seconds your motion or
Yes.
you second,
I second
you
your
second his
motion.
motion. Okay.
Which
All right.
is-
So, thank you.
Good.
So, I'm not sure if I should turn this over to Ashley now or if I should just
We
keep
can
going.
take a vote. We can take a vote.
So, any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. So we're now on number 3. Will not have a significant adverse effect on adjacent or nearby property values.
I feel like we've heard testimony about that from the real estate community in the past. I think we addressed that in past versions of this. I know we voted that was okay in the past as well.
Mhm. I kind of feel like we need to have some bar to measure that against, but for the sake of argument today, I'm not gonna bring that up, so. Is there a motion on this? We do have a letter from an abutter, at least one abutter, maybe even a couple of abutters that have addressed this.
Have expressed concerns about this?
Yes, so, but if you guys have a motion, then,
You also had a year ago, 2 years ago, a letter from the assessor that did say that it did not have an adverse effect.
That's what I was referencing. Yeah.
We have that letter at the shop as well. It's done by the town's assessor.
So I'll make a motion.
May I say a word, Mr. Chairman?
you may?
Just, I would remind the board, this is a renewal application that the board has been advised by several different attorneys that a renewal application is based on new or significant evidence that is a material change to the use of the property since the last time the application was renewed. This application was approved in full in 2020. All of the conditions that you're going through now were approved by the board in 2020. It was renewed in 2022. Again, all of the conditions that you're going through now were approved by the board in 2022. In 2023, you went through this condition, you approved this condition based on the record that existed before, that there were 4 conditions that you said had not been met in 2023. Those 4 conditions were reversed by the Zoning Board of Appeals, which stands as the last word on the 2023 application. If you want to go through those 4 conditions again, have at it. However, there has been no evidence in any of these proceedings to suggest that there's been any change in the other conditions since 2020. I would, since I suffered through all of them, I can tell you that the record, your record here, contains documentation from the town's assessor, and the discussion as to whether they would have an adverse effect on property values was thoroughly vetted and thoroughly discussed. And some of you were on that board, but for those of you who weren't, your predecessors have already made a determination on all of those conditions. So
I'd like to address that. So we have, since those applications, we've had voluminous amounts of information provided to us showing significant changes to the property throughout this period. We also have letters from abutters that provided testimony that they felt that their property values were lower. Now, we have the opportunity to either do something with them or to approve this condition, and that's the board's prerogative. I just think that we should consider them. I'm not saying that we should do anything with it, but we should consider that this application, this use certainly has changed. And we do. So all I'm saying is that things have changed. So is there a motion for this one?
Yeah, I was going to make a motion that, based on the applicant's answers and the evaluation from the town assessor, that this condition has been met.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
Yeah, I would second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that?
Genuinely don't know if I agree with that, only because I think there's been things that have been brought up, like that may not be a market value, but the market is driven by people's, like, what's valuable to them. And so if you have a property that is next to or across the street from something that someone doesn't want to see or find valuable to them, then they may not want to move there. And so if there's not a demand for that property based on its surroundings, then that lowers the value of a property. So if you've got 6 people that want the same house, they're gonna keep bidding up the house, and that's gonna raise the value of the property. But if people are like, oh, I'm not interested because of what's near it, then that does essentially lower the sale price of the value. So I don't think there's any proof here that's saying there is or there isn't.
I mean, you'd almost have to show a house that was for sale at one point before this was here, and then after, you know, kind of
Right,
before
which
and
we
after.
can't do.
Which you
So
can't do.
I don't know if I can say that one way or the other,
Right.
there is any information to show that.
I think what Ashley is saying is spot on. It's what I believe is that there isn't the evidence there to show that there is or isn't, but
But I think
I
we've
think
also
it's
been presented with things that show that the neighbors are not happy, like the Grinch sign, like things that make neighboring properties not want to see those things. So I don't know if this property is actually helping to prove that point, that there's not an effect on whether or not someone would want to buy a property. Because I think the value of the property is also based on the buyer's want to buy a property. Buyer's desire, sorry.
so there's a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, it's 3 in favor. Opposed? So that one passes. Number 4, will not result in significant hazards to pedestrian or vehicular traffic or significant traffic congestion. The applicant's property has been an operational building and foundation business auto storage yard in the past. So that doesn't really address.
I have, it says entrances significant in size and
I'm
design.
on 4,
We're on number 4.
sorry.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
updated answers.
So, number 4. I'm sorry, I went the wrong, sorry. Entrance is significant in size and design and will not result in significant hazards to pedestrian or vehicular traffic or significant congestion. Is there a motion on that one?
Yeah, I would say that based on the applicant's answer that the entrance is significant in size and it's not going to result in significant hazards to pedestrian or vehicular traffic or congestion. Also, there's no information from the road commissioner that says it would. I believe he signed off on this, so I would say that this condition has been met. I would make a motion that this condition has been met.
Okay. So there's a motion and a second. Is your second?
I will second that.
Okay. Any discussion on this one?
We discussed the volume of traffic was pretty low.
Yeah. Okay. So all in favor? Okay. So number 5, will not result in significant fire danger. The applicant's answer says the use of torches for repair or dismantling vehicles is confined to non-combustible floors in enclosed buildings or in open areas cleared of vegetation, non-combustible materials. Employees are trained in the proper use of torches. Emergency vehicles have access to well-developed areas of the property. So we also have a fire chief's letter here somewhere. Okay. And, so I would make a motion that based upon the, information provided by the applicant, the site walk, the public hearing, and the, fire chief's, letter with his concerns and practices that he would like to see. This condition is met.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion on that one?
Stan, can you confirm that the area that was in violation has been cleared of its violation?
Is it a fire hazard violation?
Wasn't there a space needed to be,
Last month, where
there wasn't a clear path?
and I did send you an email saying that that had been mitigated, he did take care of it, and therefore, the violation has been satisfied.
Okay, thank you, sorry. I remembered reading it, but there's a lot of papers going on here.
But I also mentioned yesterday, earlier that I've been over there today just to verify again, because pictures are not always the best to go by and can be misleading. So I went over yesterday and today and walked through it with Sean, and there is nothing within the 60-foot area, and the CDU pile is gone. Complete.
Great.
Thank you.
So we just need to do a vote on the fire danger?
That's correct. So all in favor? Okay. You vote yet?
No, not
Opposed? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, as it is.
I'm curious if I missed something.
Yeah, I was gonna mention it, but then we kind of went right to the vote. I just think that there's been a history of Sean not keeping the fire lanes open, and there's a significant amount of wood and I know that he's allowed to have that there. But to me, with the housekeeping we've seen and the lack of keeping the fire lanes open, unless we're renewing his permit, I have a hard time buying it, so.
When did you see the fire lanes not open?
When we were at the sidewalk, there was a lot of construction material up against the building on the backside.
But the fire department approved the fire lanes that were there when you guys were there. So those were approved, and then we've also cleaned up on the other side of the 60-foot. We had some concrete pieces there. We since Jack hammered them and got rid of them. So there's a 50-foot right of way there on the boulevard side as well. And then just to defend myself on the CCD, Stan calls it construction demolition debris. It's no more than some wood that was rotted that we didn't get to use. It wasn't something that's hazardous. It's simply wood that you can chip.
Yeah, I know, and it's just
And
my
we called it
personal.
off. And yes, we need to clean up some more of the stuff that's there. There's only so many hours in the day. But the fire lanes are all been maintained for several years. Dr. Farron was sending Stan pictures that showed a box there. He couldn't see it because he can't fly over our property. But there was a fire lane, and there is a fire lane there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 fire lanes on that property.
We voted, so,
All right, good.
yeah, okay, good point.
So, we're on number 6. So will not have a significant flood, will not result in significant flood hazards or flood damage, drainage problems, ground or surface water contamination, soil erosion, or soil erosion. The applicant since there's an 8-foot berm on the brule side of the property, the berm has small tree planting will continue to grow, contribute to the solidification of the banking and the future vegetation needed to combat and runoff or drainage to the side of the property. So the banking on the Carroll side of the property is 2-to-1 as requested. The front side is 2-to-1 with trees and plantings. Grass seed and some mulch will be added to the slope on the front and the Carroll sides to help prevent direct storm runoff. Okay.
you want me to read the previous answer?
Sure.
The board had deliberated at length regarding approval of standard number 6. The board noted that the original application approval contained a condition of approval which required the applicants to adhere to a SWP plan, and that all automotive dismantling be performed on a concrete pad. The board's August 2nd, 2023 site visit revealed that no natural buffers exist on the property, that no vegetative areas exist sufficient for the collection and natural drainage and cleaning of surface water, and that there has been an increase in impervious and non-vegetative surface area at the property since the original approval. The board determined that based on these facts, the original SWP plan was no longer sufficient to satisfy this condition. The board voted 4-0 to conditionally approve the standard through a condition of approval whereby within 60 days, the applicants are required to maintain an updated stormwater management plan that addresses surface water runoff concerns and establishes a 15-foot vegetative buffer.
So, is there a motion on this one?
So before we do a motion, can I see, do you have the new answers? Did you take mine? Oh, sorry, yeah.
I have one here.
So it sounds like there's work ongoing here, and I think we should put a time limit on it.
Can you remove your fingers from your mouth?
Sorry, I said there's clearly work that's ongoing to kind of meet this condition, so I think we need to put a time limit on it like we did last time. So me personally, I would like to see a final stormwater plan put in place and approved. I'd like to say 60 days, but 90 at the most.
We've got a lot going on right now at the shop as well. We're getting ready to change a pad down there, so we're spread thin. I'm short of guys. If we could make it till maybe November it just depends. We don't have any extra truck drivers to bring us dirt. We're hiring Eastern Earthworks to bring us material, and they're so busy, they can only bring it to us on certain days. The only thing we got left to do is take care of the Carroll side of the property, and we'll be done.
I mean, I'll leave it up to the rest of the board what they think is reasonable.
It hasn't been required in the past, and we volunteered to do it.
It was recommended again by Stillwater, so even though, when you volunteer to do something, that puts it into solidification.
I agree, we volunteered it.
So in this case, because there's still questions about erosion, is in this case, we do need within 60 days a sweat plan. I would like to put it in the condition that the road commissioner, depending on how that sweat plan controls the water off the property, that the road commissioner be consulted and that the planning board at least gets to look at it to make sure that it is addressed.
You're getting into a great big thing that we volunteered that we didn't even need but for the last 5 years. And now we're getting into the road commissioner getting into it. What if he says he doesn't want it and he wants a $50,000 spillway?
Well,
Right now, our water doesn't even, it goes out to the road and it doesn't make any, there's no wish wash or rivers or undermining the concrete with the water that we have there now. So if we put in a spillway, we've only increased the chances of any silt getting out.
I've seen some very major washouts in the last year over there, so I would say
Over
your
where? At
state.
Meiji Road?
Yes, on that side, where you were working in front there. So I would say that's a false statement, that it's not having
You
an
have proof,
issue.
Mr. Carroll? Because I don't,
yeah, we do, Sean, but again, the other concern is the storm events have been much more strong. So just to make the extra effort, you know the road commissioner is not stringent and unruly. He's very accommodating. So again, just to make sure the town side is protected. And then let the planning board review the sweat plan to address this. You did raise the grade. So again, you are addressing the 2-to-1 slope, but again, you raised the grade. So it is potential.
you're gonna get the 2-to-1 slope, you're gonna have everything landscaped at the 2-to-1 to Mr. Carroll's 2-to-1. Then you're gonna seed it, you're gonna mulch it, and then that water is gonna go into a spillway. If I didn't have a junkyard license, which I don't really have a junkyard there, it's only, that's where they put me under. If I give up a junkyard license today, you guys have no jurisdiction over it. There's nowhere to put me after that. That's why we fight for this junkyard license every 2 years.
But then you can't have any scrap removal, because that's what defines the junkyard. So, but again, this is a very minor thing. You're already working with Stillwater for the sweat plan.
We are working with Stillwater, but I don't want to involve, 10 other agencies and get you guys down there and have Mr. Carroll, because he's an expert, get his honest opinion. It's ridiculous. I hired Stillwater. Stillwater tells me what to do. It's done. I don't think we all have a chance for Merrill to come over and pick and say, well, I don't really like that. I want you to spend another 10 grand. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Asking the road commissioner to look at it just to make sure is not an extra burden. I mean, and we do have to, as town officials, consider what could potentially happen.
But I hired a professional stand to draft it out and tell me what to do. If I do that, it should be good. If he gives me his stamp and he says, this is what I want, Sean, it should be done.
Is the Stillwater swept plan done? Or you say you're working on it currently?
I apologize. Stillwater was here last week. He says to get everything filled in to what the grade we want. He'll come over and tell us how deep the pond, how deep he wants that little sediment thing,
Yep.
and what he wants for a ladder for the water to go out to the road. And we can have that done within the next 90 days.
So Stan, I think it's, I don't feel like we have adequate information on this spillway, pond, whatever it is, to move forward. So I think that he definitely needs to update the SWEP plan. He needs to take care of, we really should see a design for this whatever sediment spillway, whatever he's going to call it. It sounds like it's going to be draining into the town, onto the town property. And I was under the impression that that wasn't the way that water was supposed to be taken care of on the site and not supposed to be concentrated and leaving the site. That's, I mean, that's why the fire department had to have a pipe and a drainage easement from my family in order to build the fire department there. They had to have that in place before they could do anything. So.
And I agree, and that's why I recommended to have the road commissioner review it. And we do have another issue very similar to the Foss Road, but the homeowner actually did it himself and he's blaming the town. So I don't want to get into another situation where we're burdening the taxpayers, but we also need to review the SWEP plan to make sure it accomplishes what you
Okay.
are discussing.
So, I'd like to hear from Merrill, and then we need to discuss
And
how
that
we're.
can be a condition of the condition within 60 days. Or 30 days.
Okay.
So I appreciate tonight that you're putting more specificity in your findings of facts for enforcement ability. I want to remind you that you have in front of you in October of 2024 SWEP plan. And you have before you your other findings of facts, which all state that the SWEP plan is to be followed by CIA. And yet that October of 2024 SWEP plan was never initiated for the sediment basin and the swale and the drainage that is there. Second part is that particular document also indicates there's riprap to be on the Carroll side slope. And you still have to make your own decision about that. I know the slope has been changed, but they're saying for stabilization, the riprap was there. And the third item, I agree with Mr. Havens, that very significantly, everything has happened in the last week. We had a public hearing on April 1. In the last week, all the materials that have been an improvement have just happened. I believe that you need to have a short order to complete tasks if there are tasks that you believe are necessary, because without that short deadline, we'll be here in 2 years having the same conversation. And so my concerns are making some pretty rigid statements in your document, and I appreciate it.
Sean Gerard again. This paperwork from Stillwater was a recommendation. Nobody ever said I had to do it. We've been implementing it on our own. The riprap that is on the Carroll side, it was determined that our banking was 1.7 instead of a 2-to-1. So we ripped down 300 feet of fence.
Sean, it was required that you got a Stillwater plan, and I would assume that, I guess I should have assumed that if you got a plan, it was what you were going to do, not...
It was a recommendation, Aaron. Read the paperwork.
When you hire
Stillwater recommended it.
I'm sorry. If you hire a company to tell you what they want you to do and you don't do it, that's...
Read the paperwork, Aaron. It said it was a recommendation.
Okay, I guess
All right, so what we did is we took down 300 feet of fencing, and then we turned around, we redug it out, we took all the material out of there, we put it to a 2.2-to-1 slope, so that Mr. Carroll would be happy on his uncle's side. We then retreed it, put another 200 trees in there. Then on a 2-to-1 slope, you're allowed to have mulch and hay, which is what you have in the front yard. And that's what we did. And that's where Dr. Farron is talking about the riprap. We put riprap in there. Mr. Carroll didn't like it because it was 1.7 instead of 2-to-1, so we took it all out, redid it. And now it is 2.1. It was 2.2. Is that correct, Sam? 2.2 to 1. It was an inch and a half lower than it needed to be. And then, so that when we put the loom on it, it was right on the 2-to-1 slope, so there would be no discrepancy. We replanted the trees, resloped it, mulched it, seeded it, everything. And whatever the timeline is, I mean, you only got, get the wheel behind the horse, and you can do it today, tomorrow. It's when we have time and what we got to get done.
All right, so I'd like the board just to kind of talk through something. So what Ashley had read earlier is from 2023, that the original application was conditionally approved requiring a SWEP plan. All I'm asking is that as changes have been made to the property, that plan be updated within, I think updating that plan within 60 days is reasonable, and I think having the property follow that plan and be compliant with that plan within 90 days is reasonable.
We have no problem with it. But what if we can't get somebody to tell us what he wants for specific spillways?
All I'm asking is that the plan be updated and that you follow the plan within 90 days.
Agreed.
And that's between you and your consultant to come up with a plan that you feel is manageable.
And that we approve or Stan approves that plan?
I think the planning board should see it. I think I agree with Stan, if water is going to leave the property onto town roads, the road commissioner needs to be involved. So I would like the planning board to see the design. I'd like the road commissioner to be consulted, and I'd like Stan to approve it.
Just a heads up, we don't actually get along with the road commissioner. So if we hire if you hire in Stillwater, which is a certified engineer, and they stamp that print, it should be fine. Because like I said, we don't get along with the road commissioner. He's the neighbor next door, and him and Ricky, we don't get along.
I don't know how we can get involved in that. That's not really our issue. You'll need to figure out how to, you'll need to figure out how to mend some fences.
If the engineer stamps it, then it's God's word.
I mean, I have to imagine if water's leaving the property onto a town road, that the engineer is gonna need something from the town, but.
How about Stan does it?
Well, if I do it, I'll have the road commissioner with me.
Well, you and the road commissioner can go there, but I don't have to go there with them.
No, but again.
You take care of the road commissioner in, and we'll get it, an engineer's print to be done.
So Brian, I don't know if I can recap your motion, but can you make that into a motion?
Sure. Does 60 and 90 days seem reasonable to the rest of the board?
Reasonable.
I think so. Sean said it was reasonable, but
90 days?
60 days to update, 90 days to complete.
complete.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so I would make a motion that, which one are we on?
6.
Condition number 6 be conditionally approved, given that within 60 days, a stamped, updated stormwater pollution plan be presented to the board and have been consulted with the road commissioner and the code enforcement officer, and that the property be compliant with that stormwater pollution plan within 90 days.
So after 60 days, I have to bring you a print.
Yep.
You guys are gonna have to go over it.
No, we just want to see it and see that it's stamped and see that Stan and the road commissioner have reviewed it and are okay with it.
We want to make sure that the water isn't either going to pool or leave the site. We want to understand what is happening to the water.
That's up to the licensed professional, so
Yeah.
I just want to see that, yeah.
That's what we're trying to figure out, what
Right.
happens.
Okay. So there's a motion, is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Number 7. Will not create a safety hazard because of inadequate access to the site or the buildings on the site for emergency vehicles. So the applicant's answer, the applicant maintains a gravel road and parking areas for every building and concrete pad with sufficient access to fire and EMS. A gravel road is also maintained to the area where vehicles enter and exit, and the applicant will not create a safety hazard because of inadequate access to the site for inadequate site access for emergency vehicles.
I'd make a motion that based on the applicant's answers to number 7 and the fire chief's approval of the conditional use, the answers, that conditions for number 7 have been met.
I'll second that.
So, for Brian's point earlier, this was not the case at our sidewalk. This was not the case until this week, that there was adequate access for emergency vehicles. When did you determine that his violation had been taken care of and that there was adequate access to the site?
That was this week.
Okay.
So how do we,
I'd like to bring it to the
Not-
board's attention too, that
not-
there was no violations
Excuse me.
until 2 weeks ago.
Not right now. We're discussing it, so. This is an issue that we are continually having trouble with.
There was no conditions,
Excuse me. I'm not asking for your input at this point. We're discussing.
Dan, what was the date of your violation?
I'm,
Let him finish first, and then I'll answer, okay?
No, but it's wrong.
Well, let him speak. It may not be wrong.
so, am I wrong in saying that at the site walk, it was extremely hard to get around? There were areas that were inaccessible for fire access. So what
When we did the site walk, the fire chief went over there, everything was accessible. When you guys were there, everything was accessible.
I am not, we're discussing it right now, and I don't want to be, I don't want to be arguing.
What you're saying, Aaron, is wrong.
It is not wrong.
It is wrong. That's why you should have accused yourself like a big boy and went and sat somewhere else.
so I think what you're getting at is the poor housekeeping
Okay.
and the clogging of the fire lanes and material that's kind of, let's just summarize it as poor housekeeping. So how do we help Stan ensure that that doesn't just get cleaned up whenever he visits or there's a renewal?
I would say that the condition that requires him to maintain the fire lanes, that nothing permanently or longer than a temporary purpose, and I would define temporarily a day, be
Yeah.
in the fire lane or obstructing the fire.
Okay.
But the key is housekeeping.
Yeah.
That is a very big key, and Sean has me saying that all the time.
Okay, is there a motion on this?
I think we'd have to amend the motion to at least include that Stan's most recent testimony that he's currently in good condition as compared to the site visit. Because we have documentation that it wasn't good at the site
I'm
visit.
sorry, we have a motion on the floor?
No, I think what Ashley's saying is just that in the motion, we clarify that Stan, as of this week,
Okay.
Stan has confirmed that the fire lanes are properly maintained. And that, you know, what I'm asking is that whatever motion it is, make sure that there's language there to maintain that.
Okay.
And I think we should also clarify that temporary is
There's
inclusive
no
of
temporary fire lanes.
any items that may be in the fire lane, that temporary means a day, 24 hours.
That's common.
And so like, the fire lane, do they need to be able to access every side of the building from either direction? My concern is that area kind of right next to the gate by that office. I've never seen that area cleared. So if you go in and the fire is in front of you and emergency vehicles need to go right to get behind the building, there's no access there.
They come down the building, they go around the back, and those fire lanes were approved by the fire.
Is that, so that area to the right does not need to be opened?
Yeah, and
Okay.
behind the building, that's all been cleaned up for 60 feet, which he's intending to use as part of the pipeline. So
think
it has to be maintained in,
This area here?
you know, and it comes around the back to the front.
Fire chief already approved the fire lanes.
Yeah. They just need to be, again, through the winter months that he's been working in the yard, again, he got a little lax about his housekeeping, and things didn't get moved where they should be, and the lanes got blocked. So withdraw your motion in a second.
Gotta redo it. Just redo it.
You gotta withdraw.
Either, yeah, I think
I
it's,
will withdraw my second.
okay.
Brian's gotta withdraw it.
I don't ever think I made a motion.
I didn't.
I don't think I made a
I
motion.
thought Jason made the motion,
Oh,
so.
did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought they did.
yeah, I think,
Made a motion, and then I
So-
seconded it.
will you withdraw your motion, Jason, or,
I'll withdraw my motion
okay.
pending an update here.
Does somebody want to make this motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion that as of this week, based on the CEO's testimony, that condition 7 is currently met, and I would like to, I guess, not conditionally approve, but I would vote to approve number 7, given that the fire lanes are consistently maintained and that anything blocking the fire lane be removed within 24 hours.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion, further discussion on that?
I think we covered everything for that one.
So the only thing that we didn't say is that, if the fire lanes are determined by the fire chief, and what if the fire chief wants to change them?
Fire chief came over and approved everything. You're making it way too complicated, because you're adding everything in that you wanted. Put screws to me.
No, I'm just trying to think of everything that, so we
Think
can,
of everything. The fire chief came over, he did his job, and he approved the fire lanes that are there.
okay,
We know we gotta keep them open. And they have been open, except for one of the guys parked an excavator there, because Dr. Perry didn't wanna see it in the front yard. So within 24 hours of notifying us of that, we moved it. Stan told us about it with Dr. Perry's picture.
okay.
So, Aaron, to address some of that concern, if the fire chief chose to go over there and inspector had a complaint to go over there, he does, or she has the authority again to issue a citation.
Okay.
As well as call me and then we can enforce it there. But the fire chief does have a little bit more control beyond the conditional use. If they see a fire hazard or concern, they can order it to be done.
Okay. That was my concern, is that they would go over there and say, these fire lanes just aren't adequate. You know, we just witnessed a really horrific fire at a sawmill, and things happened that people didn't really realize was what could possibly happen. And fire trucks burned up. People were seriously hurt and killed. So we need to be considering this when we move forward. Is that, you know,
And approved by the fire chief.
and things might change too. That's my thought, is that things change as we see things happen. We might make changes to how we do things. So so that was my only concern. So, but I think the fire chief has that ability, and they also have the approval in the other part of the ordinance. So this is a board.
We had a motion and a
I
second.
have a motion and a second, and how does the board, all in favor? Okay. All right, I guess I'll vote. So unanimous? Okay, so we're on number 8. Well, not, so 8 is, has proposed exterior lighting that will not create hazards to motorists traveling on adjacent or public streets, is adequate for the safety of the occupants or users of the site, and will not damage the value and diminish the usability of the adjacent properties. So in the conditional use, we have will not create, sorry, this is,
Yeah.
so we gotta see what the applicant's answer is.
Exterior lighting on the building is located 200 feet from the road. It's on the building and it's located 200 feet from the road.
Okay. Is there a motion on that one?
I'll motion that condition 8, I'll motion that based on the applicant's answers and evidence from the site walk, that condition 8 has been met.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that?
Can we also add that, based on his answer for number 2, that lighting on the building illuminates 30 to 40 feet of the building only? As part of that?
Yes.
Just because I think that brings it full circle of where the lighting is.
Okay. So, are we okay with adding that to the motion?
Yeah, we have to vote on it, right?
We should.
Based on the answers in number 2 and the answer given on number 8.
So we need to vote. Do you want to go through voting on the?
Why don't I just rescind my original motion, and I will reissue it that, based on the applicant's answers for number 2 and number 8, and evidence based on the site walk, that condition number 8 has been met.
Second.
Perfect, thank you. So, all in favor? All opposed? Okay. All right, number 9. Makes provisions for buffers and on-site landscaping which provide adequate protection to neighboring properties from detrimental features of development. The applicant says, looking at the property, there are berms and trees on Range Road. These berms and trees act as buffers and landscaping for the property. There will be additional tree plantings to screen area from ordinary view. Okay.
This was not satisfied previously. Would you like me to read that answer?
Sure.
The board considered the record and testimony presented to it throughout the public hearing process, including the July 12, 2023 testimony of the code enforcement officer, that trees had been removed from the border of the property. The board noted that this was a significant change in road-facing vegetation on the property. The board also deliberated regarding whether to impose a condition of approval requiring the applicant to maintain a 15-foot vegetative buffer and require the planting of trees no shorter than 4.5 feet in height at the time of planting, at 10 or 15 feet in height upon maturity. Ultimately, however, based upon the CEO's testimony and the information obtained during their site walk, the board voted 3-1 that approval standard number 9 was not satisfied.
I think this is one thing that seems to have improved over time. Is that correct? Based on the sidewalk and the imagery that we've seen and everything else, I think the front of the property's been, there's more barriers there. Obviously, in a lot of the trees on the other side. Is that true?
I don't know. I would like Sean to put the fence back up on the left side of the property. I think that it is not fair to the abutters.
On which side would you like the fence put back on, Mr. Carroll?
I'm sorry, on the left side of the property.
On the Carroll side of the property, your uncle's land, there was a fence there, and there was 1.7 riprap. The engineer said it was more than more sufficient. Now you're gonna turn around and stick it in my ass and tell me you want me to put 300 feet of fence back up? You wanted trees before, we put trees, we put vegetation, we put everything there. Putting the fence back up is sticking it right in my ear. And if we're gonna go that way, we might as well end the meeting and we'll go to court, because I have no neighbors on that side. I have no neighbors on the back side. The only neighbor I have is Mr. Schultz across the street and Mr. Bullock. And Mr. Bullock wants a berm. And that's what Mr. Bullock got. So turning around and telling me that I just took down a fence, and now you want me to put one back up to satisfy nobody over there. Nobody's there, Aaron. Your uncle's land's the only thing that's there that's bare. Bullshit.
I think it kind of goes back to Ashley's original point, is that who's going to want to...
When somebody moves in there or we move forward...
I'm talking.
Well, you shouldn't be.
I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it would matter if it was...
Then why make me plant trees and everything? Why not leave the goddamn fence that was there? We put up 300 feet of fence, nice fence. We painted it green. We even let you people pick out the color. And then you weren't happy with it, so we took it down on the Carroll side of the property.
So my understanding is that the
There's
original
nobody there.
condition required a fence. The slope was not adequate, so he had to remove the fence to fix the slope. But that never meant that we approved the fence not being there. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
Is that correct, Stan? Yes, I believe that is correct.
There's no way I can put up another fence there this year. I have too much on my plate.
So,
Where's the original?
my point is that I think Ashley's point when it comes to the real estate is that it's not fair that someone, if they wish to sell house lots along that property, would have to look into that property.
There's plenty of screening on that lot. There's nothing there that you have. I have it at the shop. If you want to take it adjourn this for 15 minutes, I'll get down and get you what your assessor said. I have not dropped the value of any property down there. Dr. Farron buys a house down the street half a mile, $1 million. He turns around and gets it assessed down to $500,000 so he can afford the taxes. There's nothing in here, and nothing has ever been proved that we decreased the value of any land or anybody's thing. You wanted trees to last 5 years, we put trees, we got it all 2-to-1, we redid it, and now you're gonna stick it to me by telling me you want an 8-foot high fence? That's bullcrap. You and I both know it. You're just trying to break my pocketbook, which you won't do.
Okay.
And if we go to the fence, I'm going to the appeals board, because it's wrong what you're doing, Aaron.
I would hope that the appeals board would go to the site and take a look, and I think that they would see that.
They did
That's-
last time
that's-
and I won.
Okay. Merrill?
Do you have the original,
I believe it.
the original findings of fact? Not.
2020?
Yeah, I've lost the 2020.
So beside erosion, this is the one other item that has some significant impact and has not been complied with. And could I just ask you if you are, wherever you go with this, if you craft something, that you consider that all the way back to 2020 in that permit, he was told that there needs to be 15 feet depth of trees to the backside of the operation on both sides. And so that's on page 3 or 5 of the plan. And then in the discussion of the March 2020 meeting, they included the knowledge that at the time his materials only extended to the back of the building. As you saw since then, it's extended back beyond that. So realize that when you only have that planting or a fence or whatever you're going to consider to be adequate, that it's no longer adequate for it to end at the back of the building because materials are really extending significantly back from that area. And you just had a 2-to-1 slope created on the Brulot side after the berm for that area that when we did the site walk was a very significant slope. And that's very necessary. But there should be planting of trees of 15-foot depth on that. I know that I saw a letter from Stan saying that he seeded that. And that's great because just like riprap, that might help stabilize some of that slope. But the reality is that the trees that are there on that side are on the Brulot property, and it's I thought, applicants' responsibility to have plantings on their property that are adequate to cloak the operation. So my concerns are that there's not the 15-foot depth. It now is extended further back from the building. And the third is there's state statute which says that you have to cloak the operation from ordinary view, correct, Stan? That's statute 3754A1A. It says you have to cloak the operation from ordinary view.
So when you see
So,
someone being reviewed-
so I'm sorry that the front gate has never been closed consistently. It just got closed the last 3 to 4 days. And that's awesome. I'm happy to see that in the last 3 to 4 days, but when you craft whatever you craft, if you move forward somehow with an approval of this condition, then I would ask that the gate be closed when it's not the hours that his father is in there doing his work, or whoever's in there doing their work. But very important, I think that something, a fence or those plantings, have to cloak all that stuff further back now than the building goes, unless all the materials can move forward. Thank you.
So it's my understanding that the condition for this is set by the 2020 findings of fact, because
That's correct.
whatever we've done the last couple times has been overturned. So I'm honestly not trying to be unreasonable, Sean, but we do have to take you at what you agreed to back in 2020. And that is a fence.
You guys wanted trees and fence. We put trees, we
Right.
put trees in. There was no talk about fence. They didn't want a fence.
The fence has always been part of the conditional use.
No, it has not.
It
In
has
the front
been-
of the building, in the front of the IDS, it has. On the sides, it was not.
I mean, I believe that the condition on that side has always been that there is a fence.
Stan, was there
And
any
that you
fence
took
on
the
the left
fence.
side or the right side? Bullock wanted a berm, and you guys approved what was there 2 years ago or 4 years ago. It's all been approved. And Bullock said Mr. Carroll was concerned about his uncle's side of the fence, of the land over there on the Carroll side. But Mr. Bullock wanted a berm. That's what we gave Mr. Bullock. He got a berm. We planted trees in the berm. That's what he wanted. And you guys approved it. So nothing has changed on either side, except we changed the 2-to-1 slope and we put the trees in.
2020, what was discussed, and it was Ed that brought this up, because Sean wanted to put a fence up. And Ed had mentioned in the meeting, we're not requiring you to put a fence up, but if you want to, you may. But we
my
are
choice.
requiring 15 feet of trees.
Okay.
So with a minimum height of 15.
On both sides of the property.
But Sean wanted to put the fence up, see, and again, this is part of, it was never put in writing, but it's part of the meeting. And the attorney at the time said anything that's mentioned in the meeting is binding. It's only binding to the town. If it goes to court, the judge is not going to go through a 3-hour meeting to determine whether or not it was a meeting. So Sean did want to put a fence up, and it was mentioned that if you want to put the fence up, you can, but we're requiring trees.
We put the trees in, the trees are staggered, so they will grow to a depth of not less than 15 feet tall and 15 feet in depth. And like Stan just said, the fencing is all optional. We put the fence up, Mr. Carroll. You didn't like it. We took it down, we changed that side.
I never said that you should take the fence down. I said that you needed to make sure that the slope was correct, and
Yeah,
so
So we did all of that for you.
And
Now
you-
you got
and you
trees
can't-
and you're not happy now.
you came to the board and said, what color would you like the fence?
We did. We painted
And,
it green.
yeah, so you painted it green, you came to the board with that, so you came to the board
There was
and
green,
said,
there was
we're gonna
fence,
put up a
trees,
fence.
and riprap that we spent thousands of dollars on. And there's nothing in there that says I'm gonna put up another fence. If you decide you wanna take and sell the lot next to me, you wanna put a house over there, and then you can see something, well, then we can discuss a fence. But at this point, I'm not spending another $20,000 to put up fencing so that the woodchucks and the birds next door can look at it. Because Mr. Carroll wants to protect his uncle's land. It's wrong, Aaron.
It's not my property to sell, but he is of the
You
age
can
that,
ask anybody in this town if you're biased on this. You are biased on this and you know it. It's ridiculous, Aaron, to think that you're not biased. So I take down the fence, it's been painted green, you guys approved the color, you looked at it, the riprap, and now you want it changed. Now all of a sudden you want a fence to go back in? That's ridiculous. That's why I hate coming down here, because every 2 years I come down here and there's 5 people that are gonna take and sit with Aaron and draw up bullshit of how they wanna change everything. Everything was approved back in 2020. There was no problems. And then Mr. Carroll got to say, oh, well, I'm going to send a letter over to my nephew Aaron, and we're going to do this, and Aaron's going to protect my property. Well, it's wrong.
that didn't happen, thank you.
It sounds like the decision about the slope and the trees were made including the idea of what was already there. So it was based on looking at what's there and saying, what do we need to add? And so the thought was, there's a fence there, we need to add a slope and trees.
Mr. Carroll didn't like the slope, and he didn't want me to approach on his uncle's rock wall. So the fence said to take it down, to redo the slope to make it, so Aaron Carroll would be happy.
It's hard to go back to where we were, but we were back to the point where there was trees all the way around the property. When we looked at the conditional use permit, the slope wasn't 15 feet higher than the grade now. It was naturally sloped off towards the stone wall.
Got it.
So we were looking at something completely different today, and now we're looking at something that has changed remarkably. So I would argue this for any person that abutted this property. I think it's fair that they shouldn't have to look in the back of a box trailer. I just don't think that
We have
that's...
box trailers right down here on Route 5 that people can see. You got box trailers in your yard, you got farm equipment in your
I don't have
yard.
any box trailers. I do not have box trailers in my yard, but so,
You don't have nothing down the old machine shop?
I do not have box trailers, no.
I think it's ridiculous to say you're gonna turn around and make me put up another 300 feet of fence because now you wanna just poke the bear.
Sean, what's there now on the side that we're talking about? What
On the
exists there?
Carroll side, the southerly side of.
I know which side we're talking about, but what's there now? Is it trees that are there now?
There's trees, there's no fence, we took 300 feet of fence down.
I got it. Yeah, but there's trees there now. That's what's there
There's
now.
trees, they're about this tall, 4 feet
Yeah,
tall, 3 or
yeah.
4 feet.
I think that's what was there when the last time I was.
They meet the ordinance. Do they not, Stan?
Aren't they supposed to be minimum 4.5 feet?
So you guys are welcome to make a decision here and make a motion. I'm just telling you what I'm at, what I think is reasonable. And if you make a motion, then we'll vote on it. But this is what I think is reasonable, and you guys are welcome to make a motion, and we'll vote on it. But
To kind
You
of
guys have the
expand
power
on
to
that a
turn
little bit.
around and change anything down the road. Why don't we let the trees grow for now, see what's there, and if down the road it needs a fence or some screening, we can talk about it.
So the
I'm
only
still
thing I
pretty
was
upset
gonna,
about taking down 300 feet of fencing, and now Aaron trying to stick it to me that he wants it back up next week.
the only thing I was gonna add, and I am honestly trying not to be difficult, but I do feel like we've been fairly lenient throughout the years, trying to get this property to a place where it meets all the conditions and is fair to the abutters and is enforceable for Stan. Like, that's the goal.
When I went to the
That
appeals
said-
board, there's 4 conditions that we had to argue about. Now we're arguing about everything in the whole 16 conditions, which is wrong.
This is one of the 4.
Right. So that said, if in 2020 there was a fence, and that was what was agreed upon, I think
There
it's
was no fence
reasonable.
agreed upon. The fence was agreed upon on the front road, behind the trees. That's where the fence was agreed to.
I think it's reasonable that that be maintained, if that was the condition that was previously approved. But like Aaron, I'll defer to the rest of the
Fence was
board.
agreed to, I will tell you the truth, it was agreed to on the front road side, we would fence that in. There was nothing said on the Carroll side of the property. We've made adequate provisions, we've met the ordinance, we've planted the trees, we've got the 2-to-1 slope that Mr. Carroll wanted, we've seeded it, we've loomed it. Grass is gonna grow and it's gonna be stable. If it becomes an issue down the road when Mr. Carroll's land sells and they wanna do something, well, we'll talk about a fence then.
Stan, do you have is there, I know Sean provided us at some point, we asked him to show us what is where within the property.
I've asked for a fence down through
And
there
there-
because the fence is simple.
And there was a fence on that map, is that correct? The map that he provided to us and said, I think that might be the one, but I'm not certain. I know there's one that actually has like what are the different locations and what.
Trailers in the front and then
Yes.
had a fence on the side, I think.
That's correct, yes.
This one, when it was revised to the 2-1 slope, still says there's a fence there, you climb on the Carroll side.
Okay.
In the front of the property, it was discussed because it removed the berm for all the trees along the road. So that was one of the things that was discussed in 2022.
So, Merrill, go ahead.
I just want to support your desire to review this because there's been changes. That is a precedent for which you can then ask for the changes you want. But page 5 of the 2020 permit has right on there that Mr. Gerard recognized that trees were to be 15 feet on both sides of the property. And it said something about a fence as well, but in 2020,
Read it then.
I can read the whole thing if you'd like.
Yeah, read it.
I'm so sorry. Dottie stated that on the Bulot side, the buffer has to be 60 feet in because their well is only 240 feet from the property line. Ed stated, to get this going at this point, we have talked about the 50-foot and the 15-foot. He shouldn't have to go from the berm to the back of the building as yard expands the 50-foot buffer and the 15-foot of evergreen trees will extend beyond the back of the building. Sean stated, before they vote, he wants to make sure that you are asking for 15 feet of trees on both sides of the property and the fence in that 15 feet. Aaron stated that this buffer has to be maintained throughout the life of the property, and they will have to plant additional trees and maintain that 15-foot height. Ed said, I agree with that. If the trees get to be, say, 40 feet high and no limbs on the bottom, they will have to put more trees in to maintain those 15 feet. Dottie called for a vote. Voted 4-0 in favor. If you look at the transcript from that March meeting, there are references in there where they talked about if the operation went beyond the back of the building. And they said, we'll just put it this far, and Sean agreed that he's coming back every 2 years. So if the operation needs to extend, then he provided an understanding. So pages 18, 19 to 23 of a transcript that is made by Stan of that meeting will have evidence that Mr. Gerard recognized that if he expanded, that need to cloak the operation would be something that he understood. So, you know, I just think everything is on sound footing for you folks to make whatever decision you need to make in spite of the concerns.
The only thing I'll add here, and then I'll let the rest of the board talk, is the updated site plan we got in the email today with the updated answers does show a fence.
Does show what?
Shows a fence on that side.
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you very well.
The site plan that was included today in an email from Stan with your updated answers shows a fence there. That's the last thing I'm going to say.
On the Buon side, it shows a fence?
No,
No.
Carroll side.
I'm sorry?
On the Carroll side.
On the Carroll side.
It still shows fence.
Well, the fence was taken down. And where's the print that you got from today's thing?
I just have it on my phone.
I just circled it right here.
This one says existing solid metal fence, 8.5 feet tall.
That fence, yeah. So all right, so looking at what you got here, the fence has been removed, as you know, and the fence was optional.
Yeah, this was just submitted as part of the plan in your newest application.
There's no way I can put another fence up there in 60 to 90 days. I got too much going on. There's nothing in the ordinance that says, you guys wanted trees and do 2-to-1 slope, and that's what we did.
There's absolutely in the ordinance that we may require a fence, so that is absolutely in the ordinance that we
Well,
may.
if you
We
and
wait.
your uncle developed the land next to me, then I gotta come back and put a fence up. How's that? Because what you're doing is you're creating a burden that I can't fix in 60 days.
Yeah, Sean, you're saying because of your business, you can't get it done in short order. What would be a realistic time if they required you to put a fence up?
I don't wanna put another fence up. I spent 20 grand putting the fence up and we took it down from Mr. Carroll. That's ridiculous. I guess I should have went over the print before I submitted it to you. I can resubmit. You want to adjourn the meeting? I'll go get it and just take the fence out. You got trees, which is adequate to meet the provisions of the ordinance. You got your 2-to-1 slope on the Carroll side. You got your trees there, all planted. They're going to grow in nice and thick, and you're not going to see nothing.
There's someone that wishes to make a motion on this.
Make a motion that the trees and the 2-to-1 slope is adequate for now, and then we can visit in the future if it needs to be addressed. This is the problem with coming down here every 2 years. Everybody changes their mind about what they want. You had a beautiful fence up there, painted green, all the riprap, everything. Mr. Carroll wasn't happy with it. That's why we changed it.
So, I think we're at an impasse here.
Just a lot to consider because we made changes, right? This was something that was under review before.
No, so I feel like it's important to set the record straight.
Yeah.
The 2-to-1 slope has always been a condition. I believe it was in the original stormwater plan or part of the original conditions.
It was the absolute.
He installed a fence and did the grading, but he didn't do it right.
Got it.
So he needed to move the fence so that he could adjust the grade to the correct 2-to-1 slope.
Fence was never put back.
You're right. So we never asked for the fence to be removed. We never said that he didn't have to put it back up. I
can
just think
agree
it's
that
fair to the town to hold him to the standards that he's already agreed upon.
There was no mention of having to put a fence up in the last conditional use permit. Aaron wanted the 2-to-1 slope, we did that, we took it down, we took the fence down. But in the last one, you weren't requiring me to put up a fence. We put up the fence on our own free will, and I didn't realize my contractor had the grade wrong.
And then again, it doesn't really matter what was agreed upon last time, but I will say that I do believe that a fence was part of it because that was overturned by the Board of Appeals. So you are tied to the 2020 conditions that you agreed upon.
It was overturned by the appeals board because you guys said that there wasn't adequate trees there, and there were. Nothing to do with the fence. That's why it was overturned.
The evidence that Sean provided to the appeals board was pictures of trees behind a fence.
There was trees, there was pictures of no fence because the fence didn't get put up until after him.
All right, well, it was behind,
There was
it was
posts there. There was-
behind posts, and
Yes, behind
that was the
posts.
intention that there was just gonna be fence there,
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
So,
There was no fence there, there was some posts. The neighbor moves in, they got a complaint, we put up a fence. Fences make good neighbors to you, Mr. Carroll. You're fighting about a fence that doesn't exist, you're fighting about something that nobody's there. There hasn't been anybody there in 100 years, nobody's gonna be there for the next 100.
I'm not sure why that matters, that there is a property
It says
there's a property that abuts it. There is,
that I have to keep from ordinary view, is what the
and you
ordinance
can't
says.
see that driving up the road there? I would disagree with that.
You better get your glasses then.
I do have glasses, that's why I need them.
Ordinary view, Aaron, what's ordinary view? When Rand's flying with his helicopter, or?
Again, if you're standing on the ground, you can see it, that's ordinary view.
If you're driving down the road, you can see it,
Driving down the road.
There's trees there, the trees have to grow in.
so. I would ask the board to consider a fence, to consider holding him to the fence and, giving him a reasonable time to get it completed. I'm gonna abstain on this one.
That's why it's wrong to come down here and fight with 5 people for something that is wrong.
So I think we need to take this one piece at a time as a board because we're stuck. So Aaron and I think, are on the same page. We believe that there should be a fence there. We're coming at it from 2 different angles. That's fine. How does the rest of the board feel about this, and are we ready to move on to discussing what a reasonable time frame is?
The original thing was having these buffers around there with the trees and everything else, and I know the fence was sort of implied because it was there, but at the same time, this is something that, to Sean's point, we're doing every 2 years. 2 years now, or based on now, we have more trees than we had there the last time, so there's that, and all the screening in the front and everything else, but we're gonna do this again in, 20 months, and if we decide there's a property next door that, I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of changes here. And right now, we've got trees around the property. They've got a berm on the other side, which wasn't there before, that's been implemented. So it's like we're making provisions for buffers. May not be everything that we want, but there's certainly provisions that are being made.
I guess my only concern with that is if we kick it down the road, there's nothing to say that the Board of Appeals or Sean or someone will say, well, you didn't want a fence in 2026.
But in the
That was the
same
condition that was
You're going over
approved.
through the 16 conditions right now, and we're only supposed to be going through 4.
That's not true.
We're supposed to review all 16 conditions.
That's not what the attorneys have said, but, I mean, in 2 years, if somebody moves next door, we can do the same damn thing and say, okay, Sean, we're gonna do the 16 conditions, we're gonna put the screws through you, and this time we want a 28-foot fence.
There's lots of different variables here, right? So there was a fence, now there's not a fence.
There was no fence there when we got approved.
It was supposed to go to the end of the building, now there's things past the end of the building. So there's different changes that are ordinary views from different angles that are moving, so that's what we're
There
considering.
was a post in a concrete, in a sonotube. No concrete in it, no nothing. Those were the pictures that were shown. They talked about the trees and wanted to know the trees. There was no fencing up there at all. None. Come back in 2 years if you want to address it in 2 years and there's a neighbor over there or something comes up,
So-
then you can come back and you can drag me back down here, slap me on the hand and say, okay, Mr. Drive, we want you to put up 300 feet of more fence.
But a neighbor, a new neighbor, does not constitute a change to your property that would require you to put up the fence.
There's no neighbor there now, Aaron, so how is it constituting me to put up a fence?
So because we can see it going down the road,
You can't see shit going down the road.
do you have pictures of that?
Oh, I'm sure I can find money for you.
I'm sure, I've,
It's ridiculous to think you're gonna make me put up 300 feet of fence again this year.
All right, I think we need to vote as a board.
2 years, come back, and if you want a fence up there because the trees aren't adequate screening, then that's what we do. But you asked for the screening and the 2-to-1 slope with the trees. That's what I gave you.
so the intent, and the whole intent is to conceal the operation.
There's
from-
no operation there, Aaron, you know that.
To conceal whatever is going on there from ordinary view. If you hadn't raised it up 15 feet, it wouldn't be quite so ordinary view, but because you have elevated it and filled it all the way to near the edge of the boundary, it shows up more, and that's a function of you making changes that are what has precipitated this problem.
I
So,
don't think that's what's precipitated this problem. I think it's, you asked for trees, we put trees in. You want a 2-to-1 slope, we fixed our mistake, we put 2-to-1 slope.
I don't
We've
think-
seeded it, we groomed it, you got your 2-to-1 slope, you got your trees. That's what the ordinance, and that's what you asked for the last time. Because nobody said I had to put up a fence. The fence was something that we did, and then we ended up having it, and it was wrong, and we had to take it down to fix it, to satisfy you and your uncle.
I'd like to ask the board to vote on whether they feel that a fence is required by the previous condition or should be included as a conditional approval.
so,
Like,
I'm not
We need
following,
to
I'm not
vote.
following you.
I think as a board, we need to vote whether or not, between the 5 of us, we believe that there should be a fence or that there shouldn't be a fence.
Okay. So, how does the board, this is an informal vote, but, how many of the members feel that there should be a fence? So that's 3. How many don't feel there should be a fence?
I don't think we should make them put a fence
That's
in.
2.
I think, we've got buffers around there. We've met, what we initially said was the green stuff buffers are there. If you're looking at these photos, there's trees around there. I don't know that the view from this side is problematic. I'm happy there's fencing in the front.
That site
I'm
plan
happy that there's
is what
berm.
we proposed.
Pardon?
The site plan that she has is what we proposed.
Yeah,
You guys did not make me put up a fence on the side of the Carroll property.
You're agreeing with me.
But we reviewed it with the fence the last time, and now all of a sudden the fence is gone, and we didn't say take the fence down. That was Sean's decision. So we reviewed it with the fence, and the fence went away, and now we're fighting over whether he should have had a fence or not, where he took it down.
All right, so we know where everybody stands on whether or not there should be a fence. We're all going to have a chance to vote on whatever the final motion is. So in the spirit of making progress, can we discuss what would be a reasonable time frame we would want the fence to be there? Me personally, I don't think this is something that's pressing, but I don't want to let it go 2 years. We haven't decided anything yet. I'm just trying to move the discussion along so that we can come to a
We
decision.
discuss it in 24 months if it's needed, we put it up then.
That if,
Sean, in your answers, you said there'll be additional tree plantings to screen the area from ordinary view. Are you planning to put more trees on that side?
I gotta read your list.
Sorry. There, it says there'll be additional tree plantings to screen the area from ordinary view. Are you planning additional trees on that section? Is that what we're talking
Put 'em
about?
Maybe like 5 feet staggered off
Yeah.
center.
Yeah.
So they'll grow and shade it, screen it.
Yeah, but this one says you're gonna put more. Do you plan to put more?
If we need to plant more, if a tree dies, we have to replant it, yes.
Where he's putting the additional trees is along the road.
The road sign.
The proposed trees we would like to take from the berm that's there in the front yard, we want to do 2-to-1 slope to the road. Plant the trees we have there, they're approximately this high. Plant those trees facing the Carroll side of the property, so we can make sure that none of our water runs to the Carroll side. That's what you see in the scribbles on that map that you have now.
The ordinance calls for the 15 feet of trees.
The ordinance calls for 15 feet of trees, and the board may require a fence to screen the operation.
But they did not require a fence in the last one.
Because there was one there.
Because it was there, already there. So it was already been there. We approved it with a fence, or it was approved with a fence. So, I'll make a motion that, I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna make a motion that Sean install the fence to the end of the building, and give him till November to get it done.
would you
Put
be,
in the application for the appeals board, this is wrong.
I'm trying to make this reasonable so that, whatever, appeals board, whatever. I think we can all agree that I think it's unlikely for him to get a fence in before winter.
Okay.
Would you be open to next July? I know that, I know we really don't want to kick it far down the road, but I am trying to be somewhat
We still
reasonable.
don't know what's gonna come up between now and then, why don't we just make it so between now and the end of the next conditional use renewal, we have to put up some fencing?
If you think.
You've had it once.
Nobody's seconded my motion yet, so I don't think, so until next July is reasonable to me, so,
Is that the next review of this?
no.
No,
No.
following, that's our
So-
following.
We're asking for a fence, we're asking it to give him until next July to put it up. There was a fence that was there when we approved the last one. I don't think he ever came to the board and said, hey, I'm taking the fence down. Is that okay with you guys?
The
So-
fence was not approved by the board.
It's certainly the board, you came to the board and said, hey, what color do you want the fence? I'm gonna put the fence up. I heard about.
We did it, and it was wrong.
Okay,
We agreed with it wrong.
okay.
But if we're gonna make a
So-
motion to, why don't we wait, give me 24 months to put it in?
Is there a second on that motion?
Which motion?
The motion to give him, to reinstall the fence, and give him until July of 2027 to get the fence installed.
I'll second, but I'd like to get Stan's opinion because I know that our timelines have not always been the tightest, and so I want to make sure we're working with enforcement here.
I think a year is sufficient. And it is also reasonable. You can require a fence or make a requirement and give sufficient time to allow a company to do it. So again, a reasonable time would be 12 months. If it was significantly larger, then sometimes it's 2 years. But if you change the ordinance, anybody that's not in compliance usually will have a year to go on to get into compliance. So it's reasonable.
All right, so I second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Further discussion on this?
With a quick buzz through Google Maps, it doesn't really seem like you can see the side of the property driving by. It's been a couple months since I've been over there. I'd have to drive by again. But in the interest of approving the condition, I would support it.
Okay.
I think this is one of those ones where we have to look back instead of look forward. And since that was what the condition was approved on, based on the situation that was currently there, I think we're trying to make sure that the decision stands based on what the decision, based on the conditions that.
If you want to see something in that yard, you really have to stop and pull over on the side of the road and look in. I mean,
But that's still ordinary view though, right? Even
there's
stopping,
ordinary view.
even stopping and looking or walking by slow is still ordinary view. Okay,
But you gotta give the trees time to grow.
so
The trees were put in
we have a
accordance with the
motion,
ordinance.
we have a motion and a second. I would like to make sure that we have sufficient legal basis to cover this, and I would ask Stan to help us with that, to make sure that, so the changes in the property warranted him taking down the fence to comply. He was approved for this last condition, conditional use with the fence. And then has not reinstalled the fence. So the board has the authority to require a fence and trees, or trees.
Why can't you just do a fence and no trees? You're
So,
gonna get that, then that's gonna, the berm's gonna grow up natural.
okay,
Well, the ordinance allows you to do that. You can require both. And if there's a significant change, then the planning board has all rights and should make different conditions or requirements to make sure that things are consistent with the way we want the town.
Does
so,
this decision we're making have to do with the fact that things are going beyond the end of the building as well?
this doesn't at this point.
Okay,
Can you see
because isn't that the ordinary?
You
beyond
can't
the
see
end of the
anything
fence?
from the street.
So,
I mean, I will say that when we did the site walk, I drove past it, and I do remember, like, in the winter, you can see coming up that hill into the yard.
Okay.
You couldn't have seen anything but a green fence then, because it was all snow. The fence was all up then.
The fence was not up during our site walk.
This winter, when it was snow there was. There
There,
was green fence for 300 feet.
We didn't go
in
there till
April, when
after
we
the
did it in
snow.
April, there was not a fence up.
We took it down only
Okay.
a couple months ago.
All right, so, we,
Is this the whole motion that you're making for this condition, or is this just one part of what you're considering? Because you haven't talked about maintaining any other trees anywhere on the property in your condition. So I just want to be sure I'm making it, that what you're stating right now would only be, he has to put up a fence and nothing else has to be complied with, because you're not falling back to your 2020 as well. You're really stating a legal document that is now going to be the full enforcement of closing. So The other side of the property, you haven't mentioned in that, etc. And I just want to ensure that if that's what you're
Here's a
doing.
picture that shows just post, no fence.
Yeah.
So, yes, we didn't include that part, so Merrill is right. So,
If you want to withdraw your motion, I can take a stab at it.
happy to. Withdraw my motion, who's this, were you the second?
All right, so I motion that, condition 9 be conditionally approved, given that he maintains his current plans for adequate tree buffers around the edges of the property, which includes his current plantings and planned future plantings for the front area, and that he reestablish the fence on the left side of the property, looking at it, before July 2027.
And what about the new section that was just landscape that needs trees on the left side?
Does that not have trees on it?
That does not where you just put the 2-to-1 slope.
Is it supposed to have trees?
Well,
There wasn't trees there.
the 2020, it says both sides, flat to the
In 2020, we discussed Mr. Buat either having trees or a berm. We discussed that, and we said, let the homeowner decide what he wanted. Mr. Buat wanted a berm. We built Mr. Buat a berm. Then this spring, Stan and Dr. Farron came over, and Dr. Farron says, well, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, I don't like that. So we cleaned all that stuff out and got rid of whatever was over there. There was some concrete culverts, we broke them up and got rid of them. We then changed that to a 2-to-1 slope on some of the Buat side, and we seeded it, so that will grow naturally up. Mr. Buat wanted a berm, that's what he got. And he wanted trees in it, and that's what we planted. We planted probably 75 to 200 trees in that berm.
So there are trees planted on the blue lot side now? You
In the
said?
berm there is, yeah.
Okay. That's what we
Another
ju-
thing I would
that's-
like to ask the board, and I don't know if it's possible, but on the Buat side, it says 60 feet all the way down. I would like to ask the board to consider changing the setbacks so that you got Mr. Buat's well, which is here, and it would be a radius like this to maintain the 60 feet from his well, but then the rest of the setback going to the back corner would drop to 50 feet.
The trees are at the front of the property, the roadside, where he just put the 2-to-1 slope for the remaining area to the ravine. There is no trees. The grass is growing, he seeded it, but there is no trees.
Mr. Buat's fine with his side of the yard.
So was there a second to that motion? I'll second it. I do feel like Sean did talk to the neighbor while we were on the site walk, and he said he's happy with what's there. I don't think you can see that from the road. So I'm okay with what's there at this point on that side. So I think with what Brian motioned is reasonable.
What is the motion? You gotta speak up a little bit, Aaron, please.
The motion is that you maintain your current tree buffers.
Yeah,
You continue with your plan to plant tree buffers in the front that you've
Yeah.
already planned for, and that you reestablish the fence before July of next year.
okay.
Can you amend that to be consistent with the previous wording, the 15 feet of tree buffers?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't hear you, Stan, what was it?
Maintain the 15 feet. Maintain the 15 feet
Well,
from
the
the
trees
from
are
the ordinance.
staggered, one here, 3 feet there, that's how they.
Yeah,
You already have it, but it's just the wording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so
You
my
already have
motion is that Sean maintains the 15-foot tree buffer he currently has around the property. He continues with his plan to establish a 15-foot tree buffer on the front of the property, as he's already stated, and that the fence be reestablished on the left side of the property, looking at it from the road, before July 2027.
Can the gate be closed in hours?
Stan will deal with that, so let's,
Stan, is that true? Does that work? Because the ordinary view is state law. I mean, I'm not saying anything unusual.
so, I'll second that. Any discussion on this? Any further discussion?
plenty.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, I think it's
Just
unanimous.
to make one comment. You can't tell me that we're not biased on the Carroll side of the family, because we're gonna put up 300 feet of fence that was already there once. And now, because he's here, and he's on this board, it's gonna be done again, which is wrong.
I don't want to belabor the point, but I do feel like Aaron did not significantly drive that conversation or impact my decision. I just want that to be clearly stated.
Okay, so
10?
we're on to 10. So 10 is makes provisions for vehicular loading and unloading, parking for vehicular and pedestrian circulation on the site onto adjacent public streets, which neither create hazards to safety nor impose significant burdens to public facilities. So the answer, let's see, Sean's answer today.
Applicant maintains gravel roads and parking areas for every building on the site.
That's a clear answer.
Yep. I'd make a motion that, with the applicant's answer of maintaining gravel roads and parking areas for all of the buildings on the site, that the conditions for number 10 have been met.
Okay, so it's motion and seconded. I just want to make sure that that's consistent with his other answer, and I'm trying to find where that went to.
His previous answer was the board considered the record and testimony presented to it throughout the public hearing process and determined that no new or changed information had been presented concerning whether the application would make provisions for a vehicular loading and unloading and parking for vehicular and pedestrian circulation on the site and onto adjacent public streets, which neither create hazards to safety nor impose significant burdens on public facilities. Accordingly, the board deliberated, determined, and voted 4-0 that approval standard number 10 remained satisfied.
Okay. So, with that, all in favor? Okay.
I did.
You seconded it? And Jason made it?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we're on to 11. Makes adequate provision for the disposal of wastewater and solid waste and for the prevention of ground and surface water contamination. The applicant's answer is the applicant makes adequate provisions for disposal of wastewater or solid waste and for the prevention of ground and surface water contamination. That doesn't answer anything.
So-
What is the actual answer in his other one? Is that any different?
Same.
It just
Same.
says that they make adequate provisions.
Okay.
I'll just say that I think that having a stormwater plan in place and complying with it would satisfy this.
So,
That's really kind of dealing with number 12 more than this one. I think this is more of like,
Oh, sorry, yeah, you're right. I was one ahead.
solid
yep,
disposal of wastewater and solid waste. So generally this refers to like trash or
septic.
septic. So
So, Sean, there isn't anything in there that's doing any solid waste or groundwater stuff? You're not doing the same stuff you're doing over in Secocas?
No sewer runs there.
There's no septic there, right?
No.
Yeah, that, because in the past, we talked about that. That would have to go through code.
Years ago, put a small one in their
Yeah.
office. What happened, they never hooked it up.
Yeah.
So Stan, when you look at this one, does it refer to the items that he's bringing on the property? Is that what when you say solid waste, is that?
Well,
It-
solid waste it's another form of the transfer station. Like is curbside trash, that's solid waste. CD pile is also considered solid waste.
We don't have
And
CCD.
those all require a special permit.
Yeah.
And that would be a significant change if he started doing that.
Okay,
So historically, number 11, it said that Ed motioned and Laura seconded the motion that based on the fact that there is a permit for a system that will be installed in the spring, it was approved.
You were planning on the septic, but you never did it.
Not at this time.
So-
And then the last time we just said if it was ever installed, that it would need approval.
okay. So I guess for right now, we're gonna just leave it alone as we're only really considering trash and septic on the site. So what was it based upon the applicant's answer? Or should we say that if it's, should it be approved? What was the motion?
Did I make it?
There wasn't one yet.
It wasn't what? All right, so I'll just make a motion that, based upon the sidewalk and the public hearing and the applicant's answer and the fact that there's no current septic design, a septic system on the property, this condition is met.
I will second that.
So it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that one?
No.
Okay. All in favor? Thank you.
So this is when we had the challenge within the last one.
So,
Adequate provision, erosion, sedimentation. I think we talked a lot about this already with the stormwater plan.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much have got this one worked through, and I think that the answer that we used for, is it 6?
Yeah.
I would make a motion that we use the same answer for number 6 as number 12.
So we're going to conditionally approve it based on,
The review of the environmental plan from Stillwater,
right.
the SWEP plan. Yes.
Okay.
I would second that.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Well, we have a
Oh, sorry.
discussion, sorry. Last time we had said, so the first time it was approved, it was that, Aaron motioned and Laura seconded the motion that based on the information provided by the applicant and the fact that the applicant will slope the sides at a 2-to-1 slope, this condition will be met. And then it was followed up with, the board considered the record and testimony presented to it throughout the public hearing, including July 12, 2023 testimony of code enforcement officer that the slope of the property in absence of riprap along the property's borders meant that there was a likelihood of erosion and that the adequate erosion control was still not present. The board acknowledged competing testimony from the applicant's stormwater expert, Stillwater Environmental Engineering, that there were no significant erosion concerns at the property. The board, however, did not find this evidence persuasive and rather credited the CEO's testimony. Accordingly, they said it was not satisfied.
So,
So I just want to make sure that,
I think what you're reading is the time that we did a review of the record after the, with the lawyer. And I don't think that's not the actual findings.
okay,
So, but it is important information, but it's not the actual findings that were approved.
Yeah, and I know there's not currently riprap on the side, but that was part of the original stormwater plan. I would assume that it will be part of the next stormwater plan, because that's best practices, so I think
Right.
in the,
I think number 6 is going to cover.
right, exactly.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that that
I
part
agree
being
with that.
different.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we got a motion and a second.
Okay, so basically the motion and the second is that it'll be the same as number 6. Further discussion? All in favor?
I think I did.
No,
I did, I think.
Aaron
I
did.
did. So, all in favor? Okay. We're on to 13. Makes adequate provision to handle stormwater runoff and other drainage problems on the site.
I think, again,
we went back to number 6 the last time we talked about this in 2023. We said the same thing, go back to the stormwater plan
Yeah.
for this, so.
So, are we okay with doing the same thing on that one? Is that the motion?
Yeah, I
So-
think that's consistent.
So we're gonna make a motion that we're going to propose the same condition as number 6 and number 12 for this one.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll second.
All right,
Oh, wait, you didn't actually make it, you just said that's what we were gonna do.
so that's a motion?
Yep,
And you seconded it?
okay.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. 14, provides for a water supply which will meet the demands for the proposed use. The applicant,
Got a well on site, it says.
it's the applicant has a well on site.
Yep, that's what you use it for water. Sean, is the well on site still? Yeah. It's not hooked up, but you don't really need water there for what you're doing?
There is some water in it, I thought they used this for the bathroom, but not more than 100 gallons.
But there's no sewer system?
Sorry?
There's no sewer system?
or septic system.
Or s-
What bathroom?
He uses, no man's toilet,
Oh, okay.
shits in a bucket,
Got it.
I thought you said-
no different than putting the porta potty.
Okay.
Yeah, same
Okay,
thing.
that's-
Got it,
yeah,
it's
that's
porta
fine.
potty there.
As
Okay.
long as it's,
So I would,
So there's a porta potty with running water?
no.
So is there running water?
I'm sorry?
So is there running water on the property? Okay.
No running water, no nothing, there's a little, like we have a nurse's thing, you sit down on it, you walk 5 gallon bucket.
All right,
So I'd make a motion that the conditions for number 14, providing a water supply which meets the demands of the promoted use have been met, that there's very little water usage and there's a well, but it's not hooked up.
Okay,
second.
move the second. Any further discussion on that one? All right, all in favor? Okay. All right, so
15?
number 15, makes adequate provision for the transportation, storage, and disposal of hazardous substances and materials as defined by state law.
And the response is the applicant will meet this condition.
Okay, so based upon the information provided by the applicant, the site walk and public hearing, the applicant will abide by all local, state, and federal laws. This condition is met.
Second.
Okay, all right.
I
go
just,
ahead.
so, yeah, I know, I don't want to, so, Stan, do you feel like any of his current housekeeping issues create an issue here?
Not necessarily.
Okay, all right. That's all I want.
Talking about the wells and fluids.
Yeah.
Again, it's not so much outside as it is inside.
Okay.
So, by the
It'd have to be a
motion,
violation of state law.
that would be a state law requirement.
I'm trying to get an answer that it complies with local, state, and federal laws.
Okay, all right.
Merrill?
Perhaps that wording will work. I'm just concerned that you'll assume liability if any of the vehicles out there, which have all been there more than 180 days, have fluids in them and they sometime start to leak. Because the laws are that those are all supposed to be drained, et cetera, and mercury switches out, et cetera. I'm just saying, if you accept this without putting something very specific in there, are you assuming the liability, which is what Stan talked about, meeting at your go?
Taking responsibility for anything. You dump oil in your yard, the town's not gonna take responsibility for it.
That is actually covered under the statute, so that's more of an enforcement issue, not a conditional use.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so all in favor? Opposed? Okay. Number 16. Will not have an adverse impact on significant scenic vistas or significant wild habitat, which could be avoided by a reasonable modification of the plan. The applicant has plenty of trees and fields currently on the property. There is no significant scenic vistas located near the property.
I'd make a motion that, based on the applicant's answers to number 16 and the limited scenic vistas near the property, that the conditions for number 16 have been met.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Okay. Is there any discussion on this?
I'm just reading the history of.
Yeah, I think we approved it last time.
No, we did not.
Oh.
We did not, yeah. So,
So the berms and trees that have been removed, but those have been replaced, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, yeah.
I feel like the current plan and the conditions that we put on number 9 address this.
I agree. This is-
I would rescind my motion then, and in favor of your motion, Brian, if you...
Sure, I'll make a motion that the conditions, the conditional approval of condition number 9 adequately meet condition number 16.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that?
No.
Okay. So all in favor? I'm gonna oppose this one. So now we have a couple other things here. Not sure what page they're on.
Article 6, section G of the zoning limits.
Yeah, which page is that on? Stan changed all the things in the book, so it's hard to find them now.
I found them right here on the answers. We can read them from
Yeah,
this.
just read them from the answers.
So for Article 6, Section E, 1 through 4, number 1 is no structure, building, or equipment shall be located within 50 feet of any property line, public way, or within 200 feet of any dwelling not on the premises. And did you have answers for these in here?
He does on his new answers, I think.
So, yeah, it's in the original application.
No?
No, I don't.
We don't
see
have
that.
an answer for this?
Not on the new answers.
So the last time we voted that, and based on the site walk and everything, that this condition had been met.
Trying to find my renewal form. Do you have the renewal?
Yeah, but it's not,
Application.
there's no answers to it in here.
There's no answer to that at all?
No.
Okay.
I think considering there's been no change, we conditionally approve it, given that he submit answers that we can include with his application.
All right, so no structure building. So, I guess we basically can say that based upon the, based upon the sidewalk and the public hearing, and the testimony from the code enforcement officer, this condition has been met.
Do we want answers?
I don't know. So this is kind of tricky because Stan's had trouble with this before, so. The 50-foot thing, you've had some trouble with that. Do you have, I mean, it's pretty clear cut that there's nothing, no buildings, no equipment needs to be within that space. We don't have a written answer from Sean on this. And
Currently, there is no structures within 50 feet.
structures, equipment,
Doesn't say equipment.
Says
structures, buildings, or equipment. So all of that thing. So that's why you have to keep everything 50 away from the edges by 50 feet. And that's part of what the whole fire lanes are around the outside it helps to alleviate that problem. So based upon the information provided at the site walk and the public hearing, and testimony to the code enforcement officer, I think I make a motion this condition has been met.
I'll second.
Okay. Anybody having discussion on that one? All in favor? Okay. So number 2, the issue of burning torches for repair and dismantling vehicles shall be confined to non-combustible floors in enclosed buildings or in the open only upon areas cleared of all vegetation and all other combustible materials. The board discussed this and determined, this is, so I think Sean did provide an answer, which is basically the same thing that
Number
was
5.
just written.
Yeah.
So based upon the applicant's answer for number 5, and the site walk, public hearing, find this condition to be met.
Second?
Okay, seconded. Any discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor? So number 3. You want to read that one, Jason?
A screen of plantings not less than 15 feet in depth shall be maintained as a visual barrier to conceal salvage operations and dismantled or stored vehicles from view of any dwelling or public right-of-way. Such vegetative screen shall have a mature height of not less than 15 feet. Planning board may require construction of an 8-foot high wooden fence which shall blend harmoniously with its environs in such cases where vegetation is not feasible, desirable, or effective. So we've obviously talked at length about this tonight. I think we agreed that we've got a plan in place for a fence on one side of this, but that the berms and plantings and stuff that are there were adequate for the other places.
There's only one thing that should be changed in that verbiage because the ordinance changes, wooden fence, just wood fence,
Okay.
Just fence?
just fence.
Previously it was a metal fence, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Previously wooden fence. So I think I'd like to make a motion that based upon the answer for, I believe it's number 9, that this condition will be met.
Just to clarify, not the answer, but the conditional approval of number 9?
Yes, the conditional approval of number 9 will be met with when that's complete. So number 9 was that the one that he would install the fence by next July. He maintains the buffers. He continues his tree planting as he proposed. So.
Doesn't this one here explain that we did not require a fence previously in the conditional use permit? Because it says, you know, they wanted screening. It says they may require a fence. You
Yeah, that's
never
just-
required a fence.
That's just the wording of the performance standard. That's not anything that was,
I understand that, but even in the minutes, it doesn't say you required a fence.
It says we may require a fence.
It says you may require a fence, yes, but it didn't, in the previous, it did not say you required a fence.
So I think that we're taking advantage of the fact that it says it may require and saying that it does.
May require it.
so I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor? I think it's unanimous. Okay, thank you. And number 4 is the proprietor of any such facility shall apply for renewal of his conditional use permit every 2 years. Failure to comply with the provisions of ordinance as interpreted by the planning board shall be cause for revocation of the conditional use permit after public hearing for noncompliance. So I make a motion that the applicant has satisfied this condition by applying,
Second that.
and that, I'm sorry, I should say, and that you'll need to reapply in 2 years.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussions on that? Okay, all in favor? Okay, is there a motion to approve this application tonight?
I have a question. Can we go over real quick what you're expecting of me now? You want the Carroll side fence by July.
That's the only thing that's
And a
changed.
stormwater plan within 60 days.
It's swept plan 60 days.
In compliance of that plan within 90 days
I'm sorry?
Of today.
of today.
Compliance of the plan, compliance of the SWEP plan in 90 days. But the plan has to be done in 60.
And to,
You want to see it within 60 and finalized within,
Executed
90.
within 90.
Of today.
Yes. I actually have it. Joanne has it in my folder now, but I can't even find my folder, but. I have a
That's it,
fol-
Sean. Those are the things.
Sorry.
That's it. Finish the SWEP plan. We'll take a look.
I'm
Execute.
allowed to put the trees out front.
Yep. Keep putting the trees
Keep
out
working on
front.
that.
Yep.
I'm afraid to just say that's it, because there's a lot in the conditional use
Yeah.
permit that we,
There is a lot, but I
that
want to
we,
know.
that we went over tonight. And so the highlights of those things is
The
what they,
highlight is getting the detention or the waterway done out front. I can plant my trees out front, and then eventually, at my leisure, I can put a fence out front.
so,
At your leisure within the next year.
I'm sorry?
At your leisure within the next year.
Yeah.
I
12.
have to do the fence on the Carroll side of the property within
Yeah.
the next year.
Yeah.
There's no timeline on anything out front.
No,
so
other than the SWEP plan.
I'm about ready to read this statement here for approval. The thing that it talks about is that there be no changes to what is approved. So what we're approving today is what is on site except for the changes that we're asking for. So,
You're asking for the Carroll fence by July of next year,
right,
and you're asking for the swept plan within 60 days. That's what you're asking for. But there's no timeline for me to plant the trees out front and then fence in the front yard if I decide to.
Nope. And one thing to add is we want compliance with the SWEP plan
Yes,
within 90 days.
today.
Yeah, so
So-
you go get the swept plan, they're going to tell you to do whatever they're going to tell you to do, and we just need to be in compliance of that.
I've already discussed
So-
it
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
So the only question I have for that, actually I have a couple questions. So what I was trying to say was going out and doing a whole bunch of things like adding fill and adding all this stuff. If you go and add more fill, you are going to need an updated SWAT plan. You are going to need a whole bunch, you need to come to this board.
But-
So,
Sorry, just to clarify, if he needs to add fill to that front area to comply with what his contractor deems necessary to get to this point of a swept plan,
yes,
That's fine.
That's fine, that's fine,
That's what
that's
we're
fine.
doing now.
So
We're
what I-
adding the
Yeah.
fill to bring it in so we can complete the sweat plan that
Yeah,
we said
okay.
was
What I'm-
optional by
What I-
Stillwater Environmental.
What I'm trying to get to is so that we don't come back next 2 years later, and I probably will still be on the board by then, or at that time, and find, wow, this has changed again. So the changes should occur by coming to back to the board, or coming to Stan and saying, hey, Stan, I'm thinking of doing this. Is it okay to do this, or do I need to go to the planning board?
Dan and I talk every day or every week. You know, he either
So-
tells me to shut up and knock it off, or he tells me it's within my
Okay, so
rights.
we're trying to get this so that when you come back next time, it's not as difficult. So
You're gonna be here next time? Then it
I
won't be
probably
difficult.
will be here. Maybe my son will be here by
I
then.
apologize for being upset. It's just that I come down here every 2 years and I put up with the same crap. And
But just look
Hopefully Mr.
at,
Carroll will
just
retire.
look, by getting this through, I think we have come up with a reasonable compromise. That's part of what the process is that we come up with a reasonable compromise.
compromise is not making sure that Mr. Carroll and his uncle's side gets a fence that was already there,
Okay.
taken down.
All right.
I think you should read the statement. Let's,
Okay, so this approval is dependent upon and limited to the proposals and plans contained in the application and supporting documents, including supplemental and revised plans or representation submitted and affirmed by the applicant, and conditions of approval imposed by the board. Any variation from the plans, proposals, and supporting documents and representations, except a change determined by the code enforcement to be a minor change that does not affect the approval standards or conditions of approval, is subject to the review and approval of the planning board prior to implementation. So I'll make a motion that this statement and we approve the conditional use tonight.
conditionally approve?
Conditionally approve this conditional use permit.
As a special condition,
There's this,
as a special condition of approval.
can we add a special condition of approval?
That's what it is.
Okay.
That is.
Okay. So as a special condition of approval, so we approve a conditional use permit,
Well, under the findings of fact, you will have a special condition of approval. That's a paragraph.
okay,
So that gets added to your findings of fact.
okay.
Dan, do we have an appeals board?
You don't need one.
Let the lawyer determine that. Thank you for your time.
All right, so, I do want to revisit that. So, are we allowed to add special conditions?
If there's a significant change, that opens the door.
Okay, because in the past, I've been told that the only way we can add add a condition is to tie it to an existing condition. This is an approval, so I don't think that this is actually a special condition.
Well, it's listed as a special condition in your findings of fact, but you don't have to word it that way, it's part of your findings of fact.
Okay, I think it's a condition, the approval is based upon this thing, but whatever you guys think.
No one yet.
No one?
I don't even know what it is at this point.
No one yet.
So we can call it a special condition, you can call it whatever you want, but I just,
It's just the condition of the approval.
I think Joanne.
okay, condition of approval, so is there a second? No? Nobody's gonna second, I made the motion, they need a second.
Second.
We got a second.
All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
Do we have anything
Do
else?
we need to do
we're
these
supposed
new business stuff? No, we got
no,
covered that.
yeah, I think,
Correspondence, we need to talk about the planning board, the workshop on July 15th.
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, so Stan, you said that you want us to have a workshop on July 15th with
Comprehensive plan.
a comprehensive planning committee?
Yes, the comprehensive plan committee would like to meet with the planning board to start discussing some of the things we need to address in the subdivision.
Okay,
And we are going to go through another special town meeting to reinstate the moratorium for subdivisions, etc.
okay, good.
So the next meeting is July 1st. And then
When
we'll
is
do that meeting with the
Yep.
comprehensive plan committee on the, after the meeting, on the 15th.
Okay,
That's what it says here.
sounds good.
And if you have anything else on the schedule, you can actually declare the workshop of the comprehensive plan.
Wouldn't be before.
Okay, so,
When is the special vote for extending the moratorium?
Yep.
When is
When
that?
is that?
I haven't set a date yet.
Moratorium?
Moratorium. You know when they want to have it?
I thought they did it sometime in July.
The 7th of July.
Oh, they did? Okay. All right, so with that,
Well, wait, so we're gonna have our comprehensive plan committee to talk about subdivisions on the 15th, but the special votes on the 7th?
that's just to extend the.
Oh, they're just gonna
That's the
extend,
moratorium.
Okay.
That's separate.
yeah,
July
Okay.
7th, the moratorium extension.
okay.
All right, so we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor? Thank you and have a good night.
No discussion?